and the Florida Gators in a BCS bowl game for the 7th time. Their first since the 2010 Sugar Bowl here in New Orleans. Florida's 11-1, the only defeat to Georgia. The Louisville Cardinals 10-2 overall, a great 9-0 start. Stumbled a bit down the stretch, but still won a share of the Big East title. Florida coached by Will Muschamp in his 2nd season. Kickoff in a moment. This has been the Nissan pregame shift.
These are not your granddaddy's Florida Gators. Man, they're not even your fathers. Just 2 years removed from their familiar spread offense. They now depend primarily on hard-nosed team defense. Their task tonight, stop the multi-talented Teddy Bridgewater, the Big East's Player of the Year. How sweet is this? The nation's 3rd best scoring defense against the Big East's best scoring offense. It's Florida against Louisville in the all-stage Sugar Bowl.
Welcome everybody to ESPN's presentation of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. Getting ready for the coin toss. You mentioned Tim Tebow and Emmitt Smith representing Florida. How about the representation for the Louisville Cardinals? The greatest Louisville native Muhammad Ali and our ESPN colleague, one of the great Louisville Cardinal players of all time and a star of the National Football League, Tom Jackson. Danny Werfel also on the field representing the Florida Gators. There's Emmitt, you saw earlier. Tim Tebow is here as well. Time now for the coin toss. Officials are from the Big Ten Conference. Here's our referee, Dan Capron.
Captains, I have a commemorative Sugar Bowl coin here. The side with the helmets on it will be heads. The side with the Sugar Bowl logo will be tails. Louisville, you're the visiting team. You get to call the toss. What's your call? Tails. Tails is called. It is a tail. Louisville, you've won the toss. What would you like to do? Third and second half. Louisville has won the toss and elected to defer their choice to the second half. Florida, you want the ball? Do you want the ball? You want the ball. Which way do you want to kick? Kick this way. Put your back over here, please. Florida, put your back over here. Florida has elected to receive to start the game. Gentlemen, shake hands. Good luck. Bring your teams out.
It's an emotional night for Charlie Strong, the Louisville coach. 15 years he spent at the University of Florida as an assistant. What a great job he's done with the Cardinals. He's with Quintessinic.
Coach, you look across the field, you see that familiar Florida blue jersey. What emotions are you dealing with right now?
Well, right now, I just haven't really focused on them because I'm trying to get our team prepared to go play. But, you know, as the game goes, probably I'll take a look at some of the players and watch how they're playing.
Earlier tonight, you said Teddy Bridgewater was 95% healthy. What are your expectations for your quarterback?
Well, I expect him to play the way he's played all year long, just manage the offense and get us in the right place and just make sure that he plays well.
Thank you, Coach. Sean.
All right, thank you very much, Quint. Will Muschamp, in his second season as head coach at Florida, 7-6 a year ago, called his team soft near the end of last season, and that got the Gators' attention. They are anything but soft on both sides of the ball. We'll see their offense first. It's run heavy. They're a grinded out team, and Jeff Driscoll, their quarterback, Chris, really played his best football near the end of the year.
Yeah, and people that don't think that Jeff can throw the ball, he can. He looked good in practice, but I expect his first drive for Coach Muschamp to come out and set the physical tone of this football game. And for Louisville on defense, in order to stop that running game, they're going to have a lot of people up in the box, Sean. You're going to see 8 or 9 guys up there to try to slow down Mike Gillislee and company.
Louisville has been a very poor special teams team this year. Last in the Big East in kickoff coverage. Last in kickoff return. Second to last in punt return. Last in net punting. It is a concern for Charlie Strong. They've gotten a bit better as the season has progressed in covering kickoffs. John Wallace kicks off. Luchez Purifoy for the Gators. And a good return out to the 32-yard line. Tackled by Jalen Harrington. There come the Gators on offense. Just 101st in the country in total offense. They're a run-heavy team led by Jeff Driscoll, the big. He's every bit of 6'4", 237 pounds. Sophomore from Oviedo, Florida, in the Orlando area. Went to high school just a couple of miles away from the University of Central Florida campus. And he'll open in the gun. Mike Gillislee, one of the best running backs in the country, to his right. And the third leading rusher in the SEC. Driscoll comes out throwing, and it's intercepted. Huge play to start the game. Terrell Floyd, touchdown, Louisville. It could not have been a better start for the Cardinals. Florida had turned the ball over only 12 times all year. The lowest mark in school history. If it had remained at 12 to end the season, they're now tied for the fewest in a season in school history with 13. But exactly what Louisville needed. A huge play, the early lead, the extra point good by John Wallace. 38-yard return, 15 seconds in, 7-0 Cardinals.
I'm going to start with the zone pressure here, Sean. Part of their game plan. This is a safety up front. And this is a good read by Driscoll. The problem is he's off target. The timing's off a little bit. Then you have Floyd coming there just breaking on the ball, keeping receivers in front of him. And I like the tip drill. Does a good job of securing the football. And the transition from catch to run is outstanding. Exactly the game plan that they wanted to implement. Come with the zone pressure, bother Driscoll, and they make it pay off with Floyd, with the tip drill and the ability to score and finish.
Third interception of the year for Terrell Floyd. Louisville fans love it. They sold many more tickets out of the school's allotment than did the Florida Gators. The Gators sold about 7,000 tickets out of 17,500. Louisville sold about 14,500. We mentioned the turnover mark, and for Driscoll, just the 4th interception he has thrown this year.
I expect them, Sean, to come out and they try to run the ball. That's fine. But what do? They run the ball effectively. You come out throwing. That's not what you do. Come out and set the physical tone of the football game and pound it.
And what you don't do when you just scored to take the lead is kick the ball out of bounds on the ensuing kickoff. But that's what John Wallace did.
What they're trying to do is they try that angle kick and try to cut out half the field. When you do that, you run the risk of booting it out of bounds. That's a mental mistake.
Here come the Gators again. They came out throwing. They're 114th in the country in pass offense this year. Out of 120 teams, they were dead last in the SEC. They average 144 yards per game throwing. Gillisley, the ball carrier. He's across the line, and that's it. Brandon Dunn, a defensive tackle, made the stop for the Cardinals.
Come out that on-balance look. They like to dig in a true freshman, DJ Humphries. A tackle, they line him up at tight end, and that's a nice adjustment by the Louisville defensive line, bumping over a man. Good recognition.
Florida will use a lot of extra offensive linemen, 6 and 7. Used it very effectively in their regular season finale, their win against Florida State up in Tallahassee. They rushed for 244 yards against the Noles. Uchez Purifoy got collared at the 40-yard line by Preston Brown, the middle linebacker, their leading tackler, junior from Cincinnati.
One thing Louisville relies on is their speed on defense, and Preston Brown coming in and does a good job of tackling high. And anytime you wrap your arms just like Preston did, you have a chance of causing a turnover or forcing a fumble by bringing your arms and clubbing that ball.
3rd down and 4 for the Gators. 37% for the year on 3rd down. That's not a great number. 83rd in the country. 5-man rush, and it's through the hands of his intended receiver, Gillisley, out of the backfield. So the Gators look a little bit shaky, and many have wondered about their motivation level. They came so close to playing for the national championship. Their only loss to Georgia. Will Muschamp said, "We do not believe we should be in the championship game. We had our chance against Georgia, committed 6 turnovers. We're comfortable with where we are." He believed his team would be ready tonight. They want very much to win the 12th game. This is the 6th time in school history. Kyle Christie, a high punt, the fair catch made by Kai Dominguez. 43-yard punt. So the Cardinals already with the lead, and their offense hasn't taken a snap yet. Led by the native Floridian Teddy Bridgewater, sophomore from Miami, one of 34 players on this Louisville team from the state of Florida. One of 15 who went to high school in Miami. 69%, Chris, the number that jumps out, as you said earlier, extremely accurate.
Yeah, that's not just swinging screens or little checkdowns. That's throwing the ball down the field.
Line of scrimmage, the 17. Jeremy Wright, the running back. And he gets bounced back, made it to the line before he was repelled by John Bostic, the senior middle linebacker, having an outstanding senior season out of Wellington, Florida.
And Louisville's not a very effective running football team. Just want to do that to keep Florida honest and slow down that pass rush, which will be fierce tonight.
Louisville played its last 3 games of the regular season without their leading rusher, Sonoris Perry, out with a knee injury. They haven't rushed for more than 50 yards in any of the last 3 games. Bridgewater, a long throw. Is it inbounds? No. The officials confer and then roll it out of bounds. John Bostic put the hit on Bridgewater, and there is a flag down. Scott Radcliffe couldn't catch it inbounds. Roughing the passer, the call.
Defense, number 1. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Bostic came on a blitz, and Bridgewater looks a little woozy.
Yeah, John Bostic does a good job of reading this. Anytime a quarterback rolls, the middle linebacker will be assigned for second contain. He does his job. He just has to come a little bit lower. You see where the helmet hit Bridgewater's helmet. And that's a good shot by John Bostic. Interestingly enough, Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator. See there, the catch or no catch.
No, at the ground. Good call.
I was saying, Dan Quinn challenged John Bostic to get a little bit tougher, but you got to be smart and avoid the head-to-head contact.
In this day and age, it's just stupid to do what he just did. It's going to get flagged every time. The ball comes out to the 32-yard line. Bridgewater was injured late in the year, late in the regular season finale against Rutgers with a brace on his wrist, his left wrist. Right, tackled by the true freshman, Antonio Morrison. Teddy Bridgewater told us yesterday he's much healthier now. Said the wrist isn't giving him pain anymore. Since that regular season game a month ago at Rutgers, he had a couple of pins inserted, one on each side of his wrist. He had a sprained ankle in that game at Rutgers, but with the month to heal, he says he feels much better.
He looked good in practice. I tell you, he's a tough kid. He showed his toughness on that last play, taking that shot from Bostic.
High snap, and he handled it, and he's running out of time. Stumbles ahead, but it's still a sack for Florida. Dominique Easley, part of that very talented defensive front, junior from Staten Island, New York.
See Dominic Easley coming from the top of your screen, splitting a double team and just disregarding the block of John Miller. Big, strong, powerful pass rusher. Not a lot of sacks, Sean, but they have 10 defensive linemen that they'll use throughout the game, and they do come with great effort.
3rd down and 14. Louisville's been a good 3rd down team this year, 49%. But not against the type of competition they're facing tonight. Louisville's Bridgewater throws it straight to Eli Rogers, and he's into Florida territory at the 47-yard line. Jalen Watkins made the tackle. Just the 12th play of 25 yards or more given up by Florida this year. That one's exactly 25 yards.
And it's set up by a throwing lane, and you're going to be able to see this right here is that he's going to throw him open. Eli Rogers understands where to work inside that zone, and Teddy Bridgewater will throw to a spot. He will not throw to a man. That's what makes him so effective and accurate.
Rogers and Bridgewater, the best of friends, grew up together in Miami. Both of their mothers are here tonight and sitting together. Jeremy Wright. Well, they've had nothing, Chris, in the running game since Sonoris Perry went down. Jeremy Wright's done his best, and he's been a very good receiver. But the first 9 games of the year, they won all 9. They rushed for at least 100 yards in every game. They haven't reached 50 yards rushing in any of the last 3 games against Syracuse, Connecticut, or Rutgers.
I'll be surprised if they get to that mark tonight, but it's really just a distraction for the Florida defense that they have to pay attention to the run to set up Teddy Bridgewater and that fine receiving core.
Bridgewater throws, and it's juggled, and was it caught? Yes, Rogers held on despite the fact that he got splattered by Matt Elam.
Two things right here, Sean. Again, Bridgewater will throw the ball before he comes out of his cut. That's a great job of holding on to that football because Matt Elam is coming. This is a clean hit now. Watch Matt will lead with his shoulder, avoid the head-to-head contact. This is a smart tackle right there, and the ball did hit the ground. Yeah, I think that's coming back, and that's too bad. You take a shot like that, at least you want to come away with the catch, but that'll teach you to bobble the football. Next time you'll catch it clean.
It's Kai Dominguez, the receiver, who could not hang on. Ooh. You don't think that's helmet to helmet?
Well, from that angle, it is helmet to helmet, absolutely.
But you think, being a former great defensive player, that everything's a clean hit. They are going to review it, see if Dominguez caught it. Looks like we're just about ready for the ruling from the replay booth.
The ball hit the ground. The pass is incomplete. It will be Louisville's ball. 3rd down and 10 at the 47-yard line. Please reset the game clock for 9:47. 9:47.
Jim Augustine is our replay official, one of the best in the country. It's his last game tonight, 27 years with the Big Ten Conference, either as an on-the-field official or in the replay booth. We got tested early. We have Bob Wagner in our booth helping us with rules questions tonight. Bob, the assistant supervisor of the Big Ten and an NFL on-field official. I guess you can't possess the ball between your knees. Is that what we find out when it hits the ground?
Yep. That's
Bridgewater on 3rd down and 10. He can run. He has a first down. Dives forward. Took a hit from Brian Poole, a true freshman. And there are a lot of freshmen on this Florida team. The future is very bright. They love their true freshman class. And right now, according to our ESPN recruiting folks, Florida is having the best recruiting year in the country.
Absolutely, and they'll do a great job. And talk about the future being bright. Number 5, Teddy Bridgewater, has a bright future. You see right there his ability to run the football. Doesn't like to run, but when he does, very effective.
It looks like that ankle is healed. Jeremy Wright again, lost a helmet. And then got walloped by Josh Evans. Cardinals might want to buckle up the chin straps a bit tighter tonight. And if there's any question about the intensity level of the Florida defense, I think we're seeing it with the hitting that we're seeing.
Yeah, and they missed the call right there. John Bostic yanks the face mask of Jeremy Wright. The one thing Florida is known for is they're a good tackling football team, very physical. They do not hesitate when they bring it.
Louisville leading 7-0. They've scored a defensive touchdown. Now the offense moving crisply. Corbin Lamb in at running back. Bridgewater throwing to the end zone. Incomplete pass intended for Devontae Parker. Luchez Purifoy had coverage with help from the safety Josh Evans. There's a flag now near the line of scrimmage.
Offense, number 79, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Jamon Brown, the right tackle, called for the hold.
Just looking forward and ahead, Sean. That's a matchup that we'll keep our eye on. Purifoy, number 15 for Florida. Devontae Parker, deep threat, tall kid, can go up and get the jump ball, especially down in the red zone if that becomes a factor.
Ball back to the 42-yard line, 2nd and 17. Pistol look now. Bridgewater zings it, caught in traffic at the 31. 11-yard completion to Andrell Smith, another product of Miami, Florida. His 31st catch of the year. Marcus Roberson in on the stop for Florida. I think if you're a Louisville fan, Chris, you have to be greatly encouraged by this start on both sides of the ball for Louisville.
They don't seem intimidated, and I've never been around a team that has so much confidence in its leader like the players for Louisville have in Teddy Bridgewater.
Saw his numbers, a terrific 3rd down passer against one of the best 3rd down defenses in the country. The line giving him time. He finds a receiver, and Corbin Lamb got right to the 1st down yardage before he got driven back. Got about a half-yard beyond the marker, in fact, before Elam and Roberson sent him back. And they convert on 3rd down midway through the 1st quarter. The Cardinals 3 for 3 on 3rd down.
We pointed this out in the pregame show, and you're going to see the good footwork right here. Now, we told you he can run, but this is what he does well with his feet. He buys time in throwing lanes with his feet. He has great pocket presence. And when you're able to get the ball to the guy in stride and Lamb and Scott Radcliffe coming back for a good block, you get the 1st down. Awareness, he has it.
Shift into an eye. B.J. Butler, the fullback. Check down to Butler. Lots of running room down the sideline, and he bowled his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Louisville. See if he, well, the knee might have been down just before he got across. And undoubtedly Jim Augustine will review that one as well.
Right there, the knee is down about the 1.5.
Where was the ball when the knee went down? He just steamrolled Josh Evans. He was a defensive player until midseason. They had injuries at tight end. They took 2 defensive players, Butler and Jalen Harrington, moved them over to offense. I think from that angle, the knee is down, and the ball looks to be a little bit shy of the goal line. And they are reviewing it.
See again, Scott Radcliffe again throwing a key block. There's the knee. The ball should be placed about the half-yard line from this angle. It's about time, Sean, and we'll get back to that, but it's about time that Will Muschamp, he might want to have a little bit of a pep talk on the sidelines with both the offense and the defense, because that was a breakdown in coverage. And another thing that Teddy Bridgewater brings to the table is he understands pass defenses, pass coverages, where the weakness is. He's patient, and he'll deliver the check down or throw the ball deep.
The first touch of his career for Butler. And they are going to mark it just inside the 1-yard line. Will Muschamp, defensive background, really strengthened his reputation as a defensive coordinator at LSU in this building. The end of the 2003 season, he was the defensive coordinator when they beat Oklahoma and won the national title. 13th play of the drive. Jeremy Wright, touchdown Louisville. A stoppage in play. We're not exactly sure what it's about. And Capron, the referee, talking to the Florida players who were on the field for the extra point. Louisville has called timeout. The word we received from the field.
You don't see that very often. Calling timeout to set up an extra point.
Maybe they didn't have enough people on the field or the wrong personnel on the field.
The Allstate Sugar Bowl is brought to you by Allstate. Allstate is a proud sponsor of the Allstate Sugar Bowl. Are you in good hands? AT&T, official sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series. The 2013 Chevrolet Silverado, working hard on and off the field. And DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Back inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, some great views of tonight's game courtesy of the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. John Wallace now ready for the extra point. And the freshman boots it through. Well, he said after the first touchdown the game couldn't have started much better for Louisville. And it's got even better for the Cardinals since. 14-point underdogs, leading by 14 midway through the first quarter.
ESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Tonight's game is also being broadcast in spectacular 3D on the ESPN 3D network. Here's a look at one of the 3D cameras. John Wallace to kick off. 14-0 Louisville. Lucas Purifoy will run it back again. Flags down as he went down to the 29. Tackled by Terrell Floyd, who scored the first touchdown of the game with an interception return. Dan Capron is the referee.
Holding during the return, number 24. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Florida is the most heavily penalized team in the SEC. Just to clear up the confusion before the last Louisville extra point, the officials on the field thought there was a timeout requested by television. So that's why they stopped play, when in fact we had not asked for a timeout and wouldn't until after the extra point was kicked ordinarily. So a miscommunication down on the field led to that stoppage, but no timeout charged to Louisville. On 1st and 10, Florida. Gillislee got drilled by Preston Brown, the middle linebacker, who played outside the last couple of years, made a nice transition to the middle with this Louisville defense.
Yeah, big kid, about 250 pounds, playing inside. You'll see Preston come here, and this is easy to make a play when you're on block, Sean. And that tells me that the defensive line for Louisville are doing a good job of beating up blockers so Big Preston can roam and attack and make a good solid tackle for a 1-yard gain.
Well, neither team was likely to panic with an early deficit tonight. Florida's had 8 come from behind wins this season, second most in the country behind Ohio State's 10. Louisville's had 7 come from behind wins. Driscoll nearly threw another interception. It got through to Amarius Hines. He gets ankle tackled by Hakeem Smith, the strong safety. And it's a first down for Florida out to the 33-yard line.
This is the strong arm of Driscoll right here. And it better be strong, because if it's not, it's another pick 6 for Louisville. But that's one thing that they need to do. With Louisville playing 8 guys in that box, on first down, you must throw the football to loosen them up just a tad.
First down of the game for Florida. They hand it off on the fly sweep. Andre DeBose, one of the fastest Gators, tackled by Adrian Buechele, a former Florida Gator, played 2 years in Gainesville and transferred. He has a lot of friends on this Florida team. Frankie Hammond, starting wide receiver for the Gators, was Buechele's roommate, and Adrian was a Gator.
Brent Pease, the offensive coordinator for Florida, told us yesterday that Andre DeBose has explosive ability. They just got to find ways to get him the ball, and right there is a good sign for Florida, getting 8 yards.
It is one of the weaknesses of the offense. You saw Driscoll went to the sideline, and Trey Burton frequently in the Wildcat formation back there now. They don't have a lot of playmakers at wide receiver. They have extra offensive linemen in, as you can see. Burton following them around the left corner. Trey Burton across midfield and well into Louisville territory. Tackled by Lorenzo Malden, a defensive lineman who had a long way to run. They're going to mark Burton down inside the 35-yard line. Actually, they've moved the football now well back toward midfield, marked him out of bounds at the 46.
That's your on-balance look. DJ Humphries lining up as a tight end, and Big Nixon
out there
steps out of bounds, but you see the athletic ability of the big fellas getting downfield and blocking, and that's one of the formations they like to use. They're in the unbalanced again. Here comes DJ Humphries lining up at tight end.
Gillislee finds a hole and gets 9 on first down to the Louisville 37. Hakeem Smith made the tackle. Gillislee's a senior, playing in his last game. He waited patiently as a backup the last 3 years behind Chris Rainey and Jeff Demps. The coaches talk about his unselfishness. Doesn't say very much, but he's had a great year. He's rushed for over 1,100 yards.
A good hard runner. The thing I like about him, Sean, he has 2 gears. Patient, he sees the hole, then he has the burst to get through it.
Gillislee, the 3rd leading rusher in the SEC this year. And Johnny Manziel and Georgia's Todd Gurley. Driscoll hit as he throws. Got it off to the far sideline to Gillislee, who dances his way to the 24. Hakeem Smith made the tackle. 13-yard gain, and Florida is on the move.
Well executed play, but they miss a touchdown. You're going to see Trey Burton, number 8, streaking down the sidelines, wide open for a touchdown. There he goes, number 8, running the out and up. The corners run off. If he sees Trey Burton, instead of dumping it to the flat route, they might be within 1 touchdown. And that's just, I think Jeff might have had in his mind where he's going with the ball before he threw it.
The pistol for Driscoll. On the read option, he keeps it. And he's down at the 15. Another gain of 9. Preston Brown made the tackle. Driscoll is an outstanding runner. He's rushed for 404 yards for the season, but he had more than 300 lost yardage plays that came off his rushing total for sacks. On design running plays, he's averaged 9.5 yards per carry.
Faster Tim Tebow, about a 4.5 40 on that big fella.
Very highly recruited quarterback out of high school. Second and a yard, and Gillislee has the first down. He got 2. Keith Brown in at linebacker, true freshman from Miami. Like Florida, Louisville is a very young team. They'll lose only 6 starters, 3 on each side of the ball, with an eye toward next year. One of the reasons why Charlie Strong elected to remain the Louisville coach, turned down an offer to be the new head coach of the University of Tennessee. Done a remarkable job in just 3 seasons there. But he could not walk out on these players. Now Trey Burton back, taking the direct snap. And he's down to the 6-yard line. Calvin Pryor, the safety, made the tackle. Another Floridian from Port St. Joe up in the Panhandle. Another Cardinal lost the helmet. He'll have to come out for a play.
He's one of their better defensive players. I like what Florida's doing right now. They got a little bit of a rhythm. That time they ran the Bows in a short motion, faked the handoff in hopes of getting the flow of the defense to go with number 4. And Burton's able to hit it up inside. Mr. Versatile. Trey Burton does it all.
Driscoll back in. 2nd and 4 from the 7. 14-0 Louisville. Gillislee. Just a little bit shy of the first down. There is a flag down with a minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Sheldon Rankins made the tackle.
Illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield by the offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Will Muschamp, 41 years old. 18-7 in 2 years. He came under some criticism. Well, they went 7-6 last year. Had to win their bowl game, a Gator Bowl against Ohio State, to avoid their first losing season since 1979. I think the prevailing feeling in Gator Nation, he wasn't left the best team by the previous regime of Urban Meyer. He thinks they're a lot deeper this year. Driscoll after the fake, get chopped down. Calvin Pryor, the safety, flying up to make the play. Second team All Big East Conference this season with Pryor.
Assignment football wins football games on defense. Calvin Pryor disregards the fake and understands that he has quarterback responsibility with the threat of Driscoll running the football. Discipline, fill your lane, and make the play.
Like what Calvin Pryor said the other day, we've seen quarterbacks like Driscoll, but none as big as him. We've seen quarterbacks who can run, but not at 6'4", 237.
Most of that weight is in his legs. Big, powerful legs on Driscoll.
Huge 3rd down and 7. Just outside the 10. Looked like the left tackle moved early, and there are whistles. Hard to hear, but particularly the Louisville fans making so much noise, but Xavier Nixon was backpedaling.
Prior to the staff, false start, offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
A lot of mental mistakes by Florida. It's almost like they're disinterested. They better get interested because Louisville is coming to play.
Well, Will Muschamp's been asked that question a lot. The team's a big favorite. They almost played in the national championship game, didn't quite make it. The team be motivated. He said they've been very engaged in the practices, very focused. They probably won't get the snap off before the end of the quarter. And what a quarter for Louisville. They lead 14-0 at the end of 1. You're watching ESPN's presentation of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl. Welcome back to New Orleans and ESPN's presentation of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Quint Kesenick. Florida Gators since 2004 haven't won a game when they've trailed by 14 or more points. The largest deficit they faced this year was 10 in their SEC opener at Texas A&M, second game of the year. They were down 17-7, rallied to win 20-17.
Jordan Reed.
He's their leading receiver. Driscoll never looked at him. Throws incomplete on 3rd down and 13. He was looking for Frankie Hammond.
Again, I think, Sean, he's making up his mind where he's going with the football. I mean, he looked right at Frankie Hammond. They had a high-low coverage, bracket coverage. He runs right into the safety, and he's throwing it no matter what. He's not reading the defense, and he's not surveying the field. Very easy for his zone defense to read and break on the football.
One of the best kickers in the country, Caleb Sturgis. 23 out of 27 this year. 3 of his 4 misses have been blocks. That's been a problem. 33-yarder is good, and that's now, as you saw, the single season record. 24 field goals. He holds that mark all by himself. Florida's on the board. The opening seconds of the second quarter. Aerial coverage of tonight's game is provided by Goodyear. Tires that go the distance make Goodyear a fan favorite. Goodyear, more driven. Inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Louisville leading 14-3. It was a very long Florida drive. 6 minutes and 57 seconds. They had to settle for a 33-yard field goal by Caleb Sturgis. Some long possessions in this game. Louisville on its first drive held the ball for nearly 6.5 minutes. These are 2 of the top 8 teams in the country in time of possession. Sturgis, a good kickoff. Over the head of Jeremy Wright.
Talk about the things that make Teddy Bridgewater pretty good. I'll tell you, one is anticipation. Knowing where the open area is going to be and trust that your receiver will get to the ball just like that. That's outstanding execution and trust. Then when you add this element to the game, it puts so much pressure on opposing defenses, especially if you're playing man-to-man because everybody's back is turned. By the time he scrambles, he's smart enough to get down after he gets the first down.
Bridgewater, Miami Northwestern High School, originally committed to the University of Miami. But then Randy Shannon, the head coach, was fired. And Bridgewater started to look around again. Seriously considered LSU for electing to go to Louisville. Bridgewater on target. First down. Damian Copeland, another Floridian from Bradenton. Gain of 12. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, I listened into Dan Quinn, Florida defensive coordinator, during that last possession. Really happy with the run defense. Said, hey, keep setting the edges. Great hit on Bridgewater, referring to that high shot earlier in the ball game. Spent most of his time on 3rd down defense. Said, guys, we got to start disregarding the run on 3rd and long and look for Florida to play more man-to-man defense down by the goal line and less zone.
Jeremy Wright tripped up. Excellent penetration by Dante Fowler, another true freshman who's seen more and more playing time as the year has gone along. It's almost as if they're wasting it down when they try to run, Chris. The Louisville running game so ineffective.
I
know you have to do it.
Yeah. So if they can get a positive yard, they're okay. Good. That was successful for us. We'll just put the hand of Teddy Bridgewater on that football and let him do his work.
Bridgewater on target again to Andrell Smith. Out to the 43. John Bostic made the tackle. That'll bring up 3rd down at about 5, 4.5 or 5.
It's a matchup they'll take all day long. Again, recognition of where the matchup would be. I see Smith, number 14, matched up against the very tough John Bostic. Yeah, I'll take Bostic in a run, but on the pass route cover, I'll take Smith all day.
One of the best 3rd down offenses in the country against one of the best 3rd down defenses. And so far the Louisville offense has had the upper hand. A perfect 3 for 3. Great rush. Bridgewater got away from Jonathan Bullard and found his good buddy Eli Rogers at the Florida 42. They're 4 for 4 on 3rd down, a 15-yard gain.
start with the eyes. The eyes of Teddy Bridgewater never drop. Even though he's under pressure, his eyes will stay downfield, just waiting to find and buy the time to hit Eli Rogers, who does a nice job of catching the ball behind him. But the footwork to escape the pressure, the eyes to find the receiver.
Right. Who said they should abandon the run? 9-yard gain for Jeremy Wright. Young man just graduated from the University of Louisville. First member of his family to get a college degree. Did that in the month of December. Wasn't highly recruited by quote-unquote big-time schools. Wasn't sure even wanted to go to college. And boy, is he glad that he did, both academically and from a football standpoint.
Another man from Florida, 34 on this Louisville roster. So they're not intimidated. They probably played against a lot of these guys in high school.
A lot of friendships and some rivals among the members of these two teams. Right out of the backfield, even though he hasn't been able to rush the ball effectively, he's been an excellent receiver in recent weeks. That one's good for a first down to the 26-yard line. We've mentioned it a few times, and only natural given Charlie Strong's background in the state of Florida, 15 years as a Gator assistant. He has a lot of recruiting ties in the Sunshine State, and 34 of his players are from Florida. Only one Florida player is from Kentucky. Sam Roby, backup offensive lineman, the son of the great former Kentucky basketball star Rick Roby.
Boston Celtic too, eh, Sean?
Sure was. Bridgewater 8 out of 9. Very slow developing run there by Corbin Lamb, who might be the fastest member of the Louisville team. And he paid the price at the end of the run as Matt Elam, the All-American safety, made the hit.
Yeah, Matt's a tough player, and I'll tell you, if he goes to the next level, which he will, he'll be able to get away with that in college football, but you have to wrap up. He's too good of a player to come in, because in the next level or against a bigger back, they just bounce off those hard hits. We see it week in and week out, but he has outstanding talent. I believe Todd McShay has him as the second-rated safety, if indeed he does decide to come out.
Kenny Vaccaro of Texas in that conversation, who will be in the draft. He's finished his eligibility for the Longhorns. Play action pass. Galen Harrington in the flat with plenty of running room. Another player who was a defender until about the 6th game of the year, like B.J. Butler. Harrington was a linebacker until midseason. That's a 16-yard gain. His first touch of the year.
You know, I always say what great athletes those linebackers are.
You say that.
Yeah. But they have Florida guessing. I mean, it's all set up by, even though they're not very effective running the ball on first down, Florida has to honor the run. So what do? You hit them with the play-action bootleg, and there's not a throw that number 5 cannot make.
You know, teams talk about balance, but Louisville really does it. They are almost exactly 50-50 in play selection for the year. Run pass, coordinated by Sean Watson, who's done a terrific job. Right, smothered by Sharif Floyd, one of the best defensive tackles in the country. He's a junior who, like Elam, might be coming out. Underclassmen have to declare their intentions the middle of this month. Then the coaches think that Sharif Floyd and Matt Elam, maybe one or two other Gators, may come out in the draft.
And Sharif played defensive end last year, back in his more natural position, more disruptive position for Sharif. Defensive tackle did a good job of getting on the guard's rear end as he pulled, just followed him right to the ball.
Louisville driving again. You didn't know which team was number 3 in the country. You'd think it was the Cardinals, with the way this game has gone. Talk about accuracy. If that throw was supposed to go to the back pylon, that's exactly where it went, because he knocked it down. But Devontae Parker was spinning around like a top.
Yeah, Devontae tripped on his cut. It's a nice little matchup, too. Elam showing his versatility at safety, lining up on Louisville's best wide receiver. You don't see that often with the safety on him. But Devontae tried to plant that foot and tripped up on the turf.
Great red zone team, best in the country. Louisville. And more often than not, it is touchdowns. 35 touchdowns. 14 field goals.
There's that matchup again, Elam and Devontae Parker. There's Devontae in the screen.
They look for him down here. Bridgewater throws a little too high. Intended for Nate Nord, the tight end. Yet another Floridian from Boca Raton. John Bostic better be careful. He's jabbing his finger in the face of the side judge, Craig Jeffries. That easily could have been flagged. So after a long Florida drive, ends in a field goal. The Gator defense stiffens in the red zone. And here's John Wallace. It was a question mark at the start of the year, but as you can see, he's had a terrific year. 27-yarder. He hasn't missed from inside 40 yards, and he still has not missed from in close. 12-play, 66-yard drive for Louisville. Their lead back to 14. You're watching ESPN's presentation of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on ESPN, two teams will win away, perhaps from the national championship game. Square off in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Marcus Mariota lead the high-powering Oregon Ducks against the Heisman Trophy finalist Colin Klein, wrapping up his brilliant career for the Big 12 champion Kansas State Wildcats. Tomorrow night at 8 at ESPN. And an interesting matchup there. Great year for Kansas State, primarily on special teams and with that great turnover margin.
Yeah, they need to add about 3 more to that turnover margin to slow down that offensive Oregon.
Wallace kicks off. Lucas Purifoy started at the 2. And got taken down at the 27 by Jalen Harrington. 8.5 minutes to go in the first half here in New Orleans.
All-State Sugar Bowl is brought to you by Allstate. Allstate is a proud sponsor of the All-State Sugar Bowl. Are you in good hands? Nissan. Tweet #Nissan Heisman House for a chance to appear in next year's Heisman House. Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And Coca-Cola Zero. Real Coke taste and 0 calories.
Well, yesterday both teams held their All-State Sugar Bowl pep rallies in Jackson Square here in New Orleans. Louisville fans have had much more reason to cheer so far tonight. Emmitt Smith watching his old school. Down 17-3 as they begin from their own 28. Matt Jones, the freshman, his first carry of the night goes for a loss of a couple. True freshman from Sefner, Florida. Also watching the Gators tonight, Tim Tebow ended his Florida career in this game, January 1st, 2010. What a performance it was in their win over Cincinnati. Tebow had 533 yards of total offense. He's only the second biggest celebrity in that shot. Yeah. Tom Rinaldi.
I think Tom's asking who he's going to play for next year.
Driscoll in trouble and swung down back at the 20 by Marcus Smith. Well, Will Muschamp told us yesterday when I watched the Louisville defense film, Marcus Smith jumps out at me, and he'll jump out at you in the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam.
Yeah, Marcus Smith is going to make a nice little move on Hunter Joyer right here. Watch the little inside move, come around, not give up, and able to secure the sack and tackling the big Driscoll.
Third down and 17. We're one of the worst passing teams in the country. Louisville brings a blitz. Driscoll running out of time, throws a wobbler. That's low and incomplete. Intended for Frankie Hammond. So 3 and out for the Florida Gators, and Louisville will get it back, already leading by 14.
Let me tell you the difference. There was an open window to Frankie Hammond. The ball was late. That's why it was underthrown, plus he was under pressure. But Bridgewater will anticipate where to throw the ball, and he gets it there on time. The ball was late, which was caused by the pressure. He throws that ball on time. They got a first down.
There's Kyle Christie to punt, one of the best in the country, finalist for the Ray Guy Award. 5th in the nation in punting average, better than 46 per punt. That wasn't his best. Ty Dominguez popped down at the 46-yard line by Matt Elam. 38-yard punt, 5-yard return. So Louisville already leading by 2 touchdowns, and the ball will be back in the hands of the Big East Offensive Player of the Year, Teddy Bridgewater, when we come back. Well, I know, Chris, you regard Ray Lewis as one of the best, along with Dick Butkus, yourself, and the list that you gave me earlier today, linebackers who played the NFL.
Yeah. You know, the thing that sticks out about Ray is all the great numbers, obviously, but 17 seasons as a middle linebacker. I'm sitting up here with a fused neck and a titanium hip. He's going to walk away with the game.
There's Teddy Bridgewater with pins at his wrist and braces on his teeth, and starring once again for the Louisville Cardinals. He's in trouble and taken down by Lorente McCray. He's a valuable member of this defense. Sometimes he'll be standing up, sometimes down in the stance.
Yeah, he's down in the stance right here, and you'll see Lorente. One of the things the Florida guys do is they get off the ball. Nice, just a power move inside and just a bull rush. And right there, when you got a guy backpedaling in Brown, number 79, you pretty much can do what you want. Now, Brown, what he'll have to do is put that in the memory banks and get a little bit of a hard power set on McCray.
This could be a big development as Sharif Floyd is the injured player, their star defensive tackle. And he's back on his feet. The sack by McCray, his 2nd of the season and the 2nd of this game for Florida.
The concern for Sean Watson was not necessarily the pressure that Florida brings from the outside, but the inside push. And so far, the guard-center guard combination for Louisville, Miller, Benavides, and Smith, or excuse me, Joyer, have held up pretty strong.
Jake Smith in there at right guard now. He's ordinarily the starter. He had a 103-degree temperature yesterday. They weren't sure he would play. Bridgewater right on target again. Andrell Smith all the way to the 35-yard line of Florida. Jalen Watkins and Michael Taylor made the tackle. It's a 24-yard play for the Cardinals.
Sean, when you're playing man and you're number 9, Josh Evans, you got to come up and jump the man. He got frozen by the quarterback and was looking at him, was late getting there. Then you see big Andrell Smith, although slight in stature, put his shoulder down and lower the boom and carrying 3 Gators with him.
And Will Muschamp said his players knew what they were getting into tonight against Bridgewater. They could tell by watching the tape. Matt Elam, their safety, said he's the best quarterback they'll play this year, including the Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel. Fowler and Easley combined to blow up that play. Jeremy Wright dropped for another loss and a big one back outside the 36-yard line. I think a lot of times these bowl games are springboards into the next year. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be on a lot of those preseason Heisman prognostication lists.
He's on mine. He's also on mine as a future NFL first-round draft choice.
Loss of 6. Just the 3rd possession of the game for Louisville. They've scored a defensive touchdown. If you just joined us, they scored an interception return in the first play from scrimmage of the game. Devontae Parker gets 17 and a first down. Antonio Morrison made the tackle. Louisville had the ball for more than 6 minutes on each of its first 2 possessions. Another way to pull off an upset. Hang on to the ball.
It's matchups. Matchups with Parker. lined up on ball. The matchup turns up into a mismatch, which one that Bridgewater recognizes and delivers the ball where Parker can catch and transition into the run without any work.
Bridgewater 11 out of 14 passing. They bring a blitz. He didn't get there, and the pass is too high, intended for Jalen Harrington. Josh Evans came on a safety blitz. Was not a factor on the play. Antonio Morrison, the very impressive true freshman linebacker, had the coverage. He's from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Bill Muschamp talking about him yesterday, so they heard about him, went up to take a look at him, and he's a young man who wanted to play SEC football. Boy, they're glad he did. He got there in January, so he had the benefit of a spring practice.
Wait till he grows a little bit, matures physically. One thing they love about him is that he's tough and he's physical.
E.J. Butler in at fullback now. Former defensive end, 275-pounder. And on the draw, right man to his own man, Cameron Joyer. Sharif Floyd, who's back in the game, made the tackle. Ball to the 25-yard line. They need to come up just shy of the 14 to pick up a first down. Now a flag.
Automatic first down.
You see Sharif Floyd, even though there's a penalty, works through the double team, and that's why he's going to be a high draft pick, because of his ability to use his hands, and did catch the left hand, caught the face mask, but nevertheless still an outstanding play. Just again, when you're reaching and grabbing at that D-line position, sometimes you grab the face mask by accident.
The face mask penalty makes it a first down.
A lot of those this half, Florida. Most penalized team
in the SEC.
Yes,
one of the most penalized teams in the country. More than 66 yards per game, 8 penalties per game, the Florida average. They've been able to overcome the mistakes in all but one game this year. On this drive alone, Louisville's overcome a 2nd and 15, a 2nd and 16, a 2nd and 10, and they don't look at all phased. A lot of question about how good Louisville was coming in, because they played a very weak schedule. Their strength of schedule 113th out of 120, while Florida played the toughest schedule in the country. They have 4 wins against teams in the BCS top 12 right now, so you knew they were legit. A lot of people wondered, how good is Louisville? They don't look out of place at all in this game. They've looked like the better team by far so far.
Well, they're ready to play, and Florida, like I said earlier, looks disinterested. Now, the matchups that I like, and the one I was concerned about if you're a Louisville fan, was will their wide receivers be able to beat bump coverage or press coverage? And so far they have. And the recognition of Teddy Bridgewater, understanding where those mismatches are, especially when you get wide receivers on linebackers, they're exploiting Florida's defense, and they're getting good pass protection to allow Bridgewater to deliver strikes.
First and 10 from the 12. Eating up the clock and looking to add to their lead. Right. Dominic Easley took him down for a 3-yard loss. Louisville now with 6 yards rushing.
It's almost like an annoyance to Florida there. We're going to annoy you by running the football. But it's working because it has been able to open up the pass, because you do have to honor the run.
Wright has 10 carries for 2 yards.
The intensity of Charlie Strong. That's his personality, is his last name.
He was the co-Big East Coach of the Year with Kyle Flood of Rutgers. Charlie, 52 years old. Looks like he could still play. Play action. Bridgewater lofts it up. Nobody home. Throwing it away. 3rd down and 13.
Duly noted that Devontae Parker, big threat down here in the red zone. So far, when they've been in the red zone, they put Matt Elam, number 22, on Parker, especially if he's in the slot player.
Yeah, Parker with 9 touchdowns for the year on just 38 catches. So he is targeted very often in this part of the field. 1 catch tonight to give him 39 for the year. His first team All Big East. Purifoy up there in bump and run coverage. They play bump and run on both sides, it appears. And a timeout called by Louisville.
There is no foul on the play. Charge timeout, Louisville. Their second timeout of the half.
3rd down and 13 for the Cardinals when we come back. Back at the Allstate Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Louisville already leading Florida 17-3 and looking to pad the lead. At the Gators 15. 3rd and 13. They're 4 out of 5 on 3rd down tonight. 5-man rush. Bridgewater throws. It is caught. Touchdown. There is a flag down, but it looked like it's going to be pass interference against Florida. Devontae Parker does it again in the red zone.
We called it, Sean. That's the matchup. We knew it was coming.
Parker was pretty clearly being held as he crossed the goal line while the ball was in the air.
Pass interference. Defense, number 15. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
So they've converted a 3rd and 14, a 3rd and 10, and now on 3rd and 13, it's a 15-yard touchdown pass. Let's check it to make sure it was a catch and inbounds. It appears to be.
The ball's not rolling around, and outstanding job of over the shoulder, foot down.
Yep, 1 foot down is all you need in college. He completes the catch. Great position by Joel Clay, the field judge, and no need to stop for review. John Wallace adds the extra point in a stunning first half. Louisville now leading 24-3. Will Muschamp in disbelief. His team's been dominated here in the first half.
We knew this was coming. This was the matchup that they worked on in practice. Purifoy's their best cover corner. And right there, the ball's thrown where only Parker is able to catch it to the outside, away from the coverage. Let's let the celebration begin.
Teddy Bridgewater and the Cardinals have scored on all 3 of their possessions on offense. There's his mom, Rose Murphy, a cancer survivor, diagnosed with breast cancer when her son Teddy was 14 years old. The kind of young man Teddy is. Teddy told his mom he wanted to get a job to support her and the family. She said, absolutely not. You're going to stay in school. You're going to focus on academics. You have a bright future in football. They are exceptionally close. That's Teddy's girlfriend on the right of your screen. Erica Carzona.
So many stories, Sean, about breast cancer, and a lot of times it galvanizes a family, and it certainly galvanized that family.
Andre DuBose. They could use a big return. They don't get one. They got chopped down by Anthony Branch. Teddy Bridgewater, very impressive young man. We certainly enjoyed our visit with him yesterday. He was originally committed to Miami, but then when Randy Shannon was let go, he reopened his recruitment, chose Louisville. Keeps 2 pieces of bubble gum in each sock. That just helps him relax. He gives the comics to the equipment people. I'm sure they really appreciate that. He was a top prospect. When he reopened his recruitment, he thought he was going to go to LSU. The coaches at LSU apparently told him to reschedule his visit because they wanted to go visit Zach Mittenberger. And that didn't sit very well with Teddy or his mom. They went to visit Louisville instead. Ball carries Mike Gillislee. Florida has to go quickly. Teddy said his concern about Louisville was it might be too country. He didn't know much about it. Thought it might be all horse farms up there in Kentucky when he realized it was a big city. He was drawn to it. It's been a great fit for both sides, obviously. Driscoll on target. Caught by Quentin Dunbar. And now in the hurry-up, the Gators trying to get a little rhythm.
Well, that's a nice read by Driscoll. Everybody jumped the flat route, which Driscoll moved the defenders to the flat with his eyes, then came back to Dunbar in the curl. Your eyes will help you as a quarterback. You can move people around just like Driscoll did.
This is really out of character for Florida. I'm going to line up and basically throw it almost every down. But they're doing it successfully. Frankie Hammond chopped out of bounds with another first down at the 45-yard line of Louisville. Knocked out by Andrew Johnson. He's from Miami. 11-yard gain after the 16-yarder by Dunbar. Plenty of time now. They can really use all of their offense. 1:50 to go and all 3 timeouts left.
You see Louisville's being a little bit preventive right here. They jumped that last short route. They want to keep everything underneath and make a good solid tackle if there's a reception in front of them.
Matt Jones, the running back. Driscoll faked it to him. Omarius Hines in space. It swung forward. He has a first down. They're getting it in big chunks here. That's another 11-yard gain. Preston Brown made the tackle.
Again, instead of bringing any zone pressures, they're just rushing 4, dropping 7 behind, keeping everything in front. And Driscoll's taking advantage. Here comes the pressure.
Well, they bring a blitz. Driscoll has time and a receiver. Dunbar inbounds, whacked immediately by Deontrez Mount. And Florida will use its first timeout with 1:05 to go in the half. Coming up at the half, stay tuned for Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, and the Buick halftime report. Also a preview of the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl tomorrow night on ESPN. Oregon and Kansas State. Those gentlemen we mentioned, they're a little tired today. They were at the Rose Bowl yesterday. Flew overnight to get here.
They're gamers.
They are gamers. Where else would you rather be?
Exactly. Could be working for a living. Sean, now look for Louisville. Now they can bring a little bit more pressure as the field shrinks. The ball has to come out quicker so you don't have to cover as long to get the pressure to force Driscoll to throw it earlier.
Very important possession for Florida. Driscoll's hit his last 4 passes. And Straight Burton in motion. 5-man rush. Now Driscoll with some running room up the middle has the first down. The clock will stop to move the chains. He's down inside the 19, chased by Jermaine Reeve, a backup safety. Another product of Miami, Florida.
Good pickup by Florida. Calvin Pryor pressuring from the outside from his safety position. Good pickup, which allowed Driscoll to tuck it and run.
It is a very good offensive line with a lot of veterans across the Florida front. Driscoll didn't find anybody looking left. He's going to run. And he's near another first down. Chased out by Preston Brown. They're going to mark it at the 8-yard line. First and goal, Florida, with 35 seconds and 2 timeouts left.
Well, if you're big in pressure, you have to get there. And again, solid job by Florida picking up the pressure. And Malden loses contain, which allows the fast 4.5 40 guy, Driscoll, to get the first down. And Charlie does not like it.
Driscoll, a tremendous athlete. Timeout called by Louisville, their last of the half.
Timeout. Louisville.
Driscoll was
Their third and
a
final
top
timeout
baseball
of the half.
prospect.
30-second timeout.
Would have been a first or second round draft choice, we're told, in baseball, but he made it clear to the major league teams that he intended to play college football at Florida. Here's a look at tonight's Taco Bell touchdown spotlight. And we go back to the very first play from scrimmage in this game. Florida ball, 1st and 10. Driscoll's pass off the hands of Andre DuBose into the hands of Terrell Floyd.
And again, a good recognition by Driscoll on the zone pressure. Just poorly executed. And Floyd being in position secures tip drill. Starts the game off with a bang for the Cardinal defense.
Exactly the kind of start that Louisville, any team, would have hoped for, but particularly an underdog. Although when we talked to a number of their players and coaches yesterday, we didn't get any sense that they thought they were in over their heads tonight against Florida. I don't think they're surprised by what they've done.
And they come in with a little bit of chip on their shoulder, and they're responding to the challenge.
Spread formation, quarterback draw, Driscoll. Now they're going to have to use another timeout. He got to the 3-yard line before he got pinballed back. A 2nd and goal with 28 seconds and 1 timeout left. Saturday, 1 Eastern time on ESPN. College football action continues with the BBVA Compass Bowl. The Pittsburgh Panthers in their 5th consecutive bowl appearance against Hugh Freeze and the Ole Miss Rebels. There are 2 coaches who did a terrific job in their first year in their respective positions.
Paul Chryst at Pittsburgh.
That's Saturday at 1 o'clock. Hugh Freeze of Ole Miss. Of course, Pittsburgh started the season very poorly. Talk about bowl streaks. This is the 8th straight January bowl for Florida. That's extending the longest such streak in the country. They've won 4 straight bowl games. That's the longest streak in school history. They're in trouble tonight. They have Driscoll out of the ball game. Trey Burton back in the Wildcat.
Unbalanced line to the right.
9 men across the line of scrimmage. And he's going to throw it. And it's well covered. They're so well coached on defense. Now Burton runs and he's down at the 2-yard line. Only 1 timeout left. Will Muschamp's going to use it. 3rd down and goal. Boy, they're so well coached. They weren't fooled at all.
You know, you're right, Sean, and why they're well coached is because even though it looks like a total run formation with the on balance, watch the offensive linemen. They show high hats. High hats means play action. They're not blocking downfield, and it's a good job of recognizing by the cover folks to jump on any potential receivers. Burton does well to get all he can get.
What do you mean by the high hats?
The offensive line.
When they stand up, it gives it away that it's going to be a pass.
Yes,
They're
sir.
not run blocking.
Thank you.
No, you made the point.
No, I mean, that's good that you
amplify it.
You interpret for me often.
Well, I'm used to it. I have to finish Bill Raftery's sentences starting next Monday night. Big Monday returns.
Looking forward to watching that. Feel a little sorry for Raph and Jay, but that's all right.
Now, can they run the ball here, Chris, without a timeout? Or do you have to throw with 19 seconds?
I think you can run the football here. That's what you do best.
But you better hurry up. No, they're going to throw it. And they're going to throw it in the back of the end zone. Broken up beautifully by Jermaine Reed. Intended for Jordan Reed, their leading receiver, who's had a quiet half. I don't think they felt like they could run the ball, Chris, because if they got tackled short of the goal line, they may not have time for another play or a field goal.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also know that's what they do best. They don't throw the ball best. They go to Jordan Reed and watch Reed go up and just play the hands. Does not panic, turns and plays the hands, does not quit on the ball, and does a good job of targeting the football with his right hand.
Look at this formation. Field goal team not on the field. Louisville doesn't have a timeout to adjust to it. They snap it to Burton. He handed it off for a touchdown to Matt Jones. I'd say both teams are well coached. Terrific creativity by Will Muschamp, Brent Pease, and their staff. Charlie Strong didn't have a timeout to help them get ready for that trickery. And a huge touchdown. And I think they had to do something like that, Chris, because a field goal wasn't going to turn momentum in Florida's favor. That big play might. Caleb Sturgis adds the extra point.
Well, first of all, this could be called off at any time, but they like the matchup and why. They have 3-on-3. A hat for a hat. They're going to bring Matt Jones in. Matt Jones is going to come up. Here's the hat, here's the hat, here's the hat. They got him outnumbered, Sean, and it's an easy call for Trey Burton to give the ball to Matt Jones. And you see that blow him off the line of scrimmage right here. Somebody's got to take the quarterback. They trust Matt Jones to run with the power that he runs.
And he is a powerful 226-pounder.
Hakeem Smith came in there at safety at 180 pounds. I'll take that.
They could call it off. They might have had shift out of it, but they couldn't call a timeout because they didn't have any, so they had to run something.
Call the fake off or go ahead and shift back to the field goal formation. Good call by Will. Outstanding.
And the other thing they could have done is just take the delay game kind of it too. If they didn't like it, then they'd kick a longer field goal. And there was really no downside risk for Florida. If you got to look, you like, run it. If you don't, take the penalty. 11 plays, 75 yards, much needed 1-yard touchdown for Jones. Driscoll was 4 for 4 passing on the drive and ran for 24 yards. Sturgis' extra point went into the All-State good hands net. Allstate is celebrating its 8th year sponsoring the Good Hands Nets. Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $3 million in scholarship money. Great program. And Florida will be trailing at the half, and that is not unusual. The regular season, they trailed in 5 of their 12 games at the half. Won 4 of them, with the only loss against Georgia, including halftime deficits overcome against Texas A&M and LSU. So they're facing their biggest halftime hole of the year. 24-10. Here's Quint.
Coach, what impact did that last touchdown have?
Well, it's a big play for us. It's a 2-score game. We got to get off the field on 3rd down. That's the issue right now. We're playing the runs pretty well. We've had 2 nice drives offensively. We just can't get off the field on 3rd down.
Yeah, 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. How can you better defend Teddy Bridgewater?
Well, we've got to keep a guy on him and do a little bit of some stuff we did earlier in the year.
Thanks, Coach. 8 comeback wins, Sean. A little spark down here for the first time in the first half.
And he's right on about the 3rd downs. 5 out of 6 on 3rd down. Louisville. Halftime score of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl. Louisville 24, Florida 10. Stay tuned for the Buick halftime report from New Orleans right after these messages.
Welcome to the Buick Halftime Report.
Just like all the experts predicted, Louisville up by 14 over the Gators. This would be the biggest point spread upset in BCS Bowl history. Chris Fowler, Desmond Howard, Kirk Bridgewater, breathtaking in the first half after Terrell Floyd got him off to the quick lead with a pick 6.
I think everybody wanted to see how Bridgewater would play against the Florida defense. Give Louisville's Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator, a lot of credit. They're moving him around. The offensive line's protecting him. This kid's one of the toughest players we've seen all year in college football, especially playing at quarterback. The pick 6 was key. The first play of the game, I think it got momentum created. Definitely. And it got a belief about this Louisville team about pulling off this upset. Florida looks like undisciplined. They're here to talk more trash than execute and play football.
What we're seeing right now is tantamount to a 7-on-7 drill. And 7-on-7 drill is when you have backs and receivers versus linebackers in the secondary. The offense and defensive lines nullified right now. They don't exist. So now you have Bridgewater just taking his time, picking apart the Gators secondary with his wide receivers and his running backs. And I'm trying to tell you, the Gators, they do not have 4 or 5 defensive backs who can hold the line of scrimmage and play man-to-man for 5 seconds or more against those wide receivers, and that's the problem.
That's the shock of the
That's
game.
The problem.
That's a big
They
shock.
cannot stay man-to-man with those wideouts for 5 to 6 seconds, and that's why Bridgewater right now is picking them apart.
Louisville's going to get the ball to start the second half. They haven't punted yet. Gators haven't stopped him yet with a top passing efficiency defense. On the offensive side, they had 75 total yards until that touchdown drive, which could be important right before halftime. What does Driscoll have to do better?
Let's remember one thing about Florida. They have been a second-half team all year long.
Yep.
They've made adjustments. They've been able to come back in the second half and play very, very well. They're not a great passing team. They've got to kind of stick to their game plan. There's still 30 minutes of football. You're down a couple touchdowns. You can get back in it, but it's going to start. Has to start with the physicality, as you said, in the
and that's what they're banking on. I was on their sideline. I spoke to Chris Leak. I spoke to Emmitt Smith, and that's what they're banking on. They're a much better second-half team than first-half teams. So they think they're going to make some adjustments and come out and play great on defense.
Better wake up.
116-point edge over their opponents after halftime. It's even better than that in the fourth quarter, but it's been a very impressive opening half by Louisville. There's Floyd to the house, getting them started in the first 15 seconds of the game.
This halftime report is presented by the new Buick Enclave. It's smart made beautiful.
Have a good day.
And we welcome you back to ESPN's presentation of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl from Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. A surprise at the half. Louisville, one of the quad champions of the Big East Conference, leading the #3 team in the country, Florida, 24-10. Welcome back to New Orleans. Sean McDonough along with Chris Spielman, rejoined in a moment by Quint Kesenick. The score is a surprise. It isn't a surprise, though, if you watch the half. Louisville scored a defensive touchdown 15 seconds of the game, and for most of the half, controlled the play. Florida got the late touchdown to get within 2 scores. What other adjustments does Florida have to make?
Well, let's look at the defensive side of the ball. Teddy Bridgewater has time to throw the ball. Credit to Louisville's offensive line. They're handling the 4-man rush of Florida. So I believe Will Muschamp and Dan Quinn will come out and come with some type of pressure, either zone pressure or man pressure, to get Bridgewater off his game and off his timing.
And if you're Louisville, Charlie Strong, your coach, told you don't worry about who you're playing, just do what you can do, play like we always do. And that's what his team did. They didn't seem fazed at all by the caliber of the competition. More of the same, or do they need to adjust?
No, I think they do what you've been doing. Their defense has been outstanding, solid against the run, what Florida loves to do best, and Louisville's been able to shut down their power running game.
Louisville will get the ball first to begin the second half, as Caleb Sturgis has it teed up. And it's an onside kick. And the Louisville players were ready for it. They did not retreat. And they actually had a wide receiver up there on the front line, Andrell Smith, who recovered it. And now flags fly after a skirmish breaks out. But give Louisville credit. They were not retreating. They held their ground and cleanly recovered the attempted surprise onside kick by the Florida Gators, who have not attempted an onside kick all year prior to tonight.
Andrell Smith did a good job of holding his position. A lot of times in the scouting report, when you're watching film, you look for a guy that will retreat early. They were disciplined, waiting till the ball's kicked before they move. Andrell Smith took a heck of a shot and was able to hold on to the football.
We mentioned at the beginning, Charlie Strong's Cardinals have been a dreadful special teams team all year long.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Both fouls occurred after the play. Personal foul, kicking team, number 15. Personal foul, kicking team, number 32. Both fouls will be enforced, 15 yards each. Number 32 on the kicking team has been ejected from the game.
Chris Johnson, the backup running back, has been ejected. Do you like the decision to onside kick, Chris? I mean, you're back in the game with the late touchdown. This almost reeks of desperation, doesn't it? Or are you just trying to keep the momentum going? But you run a big risk when you give the team the ball at midfield.
Bowl game, I think you can get them by surprise, but Charlie Strong has a well-coached team.
You're going to get ejected every time. Will Muschamp can complain, but it was right in the view of the side judge, Craig Jeffries, and the umpire, James Krogstad.
Undisciplined. Undisciplined. I mean, you go with the onside kick. If they recover it, you're able to have some type of field position, but you had the 2 15-yard penalties. Been a mistake. Mental error.
Well, the penalties against Florida bring the ball down to the 19-yard line. Well, this is a gamble that could really backfire on Will Muschamp. Bridgewater wants to make them pay immediately, and he does. Touchdown, Damian Copeland. Louisville has scored on the first play from scrimmage in both halves.
They hit him with the old slant and go. And actually, Purefoy did a good job of not jumping, but his eyes have to go to the receiver instead of on the quarterback. He loses sight of the receiver. And again, Bridgewater throws to a spot. He doesn't throw to the man. He lets the man get to the ball. Outstanding execution by Louisville's offense.
And whatever momentum Florida had by the trick play that resulted in the touchdown at the end of the half is gone. The gamble really blows up in the face of Will Muschamp. The lack of poise by Chris Johnson hurts. And Bridgewater to Copeland, 19 yards. Adding to a huge night in a little more than a half for Teddy Bridgewater.
Again, the one thing I like about Teddy Bridgewater is he uses the whole field. 9 guys coming into this game have caught double-digit passes for the Cardinals. But he sees the field, understands coverage, and understands the weakness of coverage. And the other thing that he has is trust in his receivers to go up and make the play. When they run a sluggo / slant and go, he's going to throw it to the spot. The receiver will run to the spot and catch the ball.
Here's what you're talking about, spreading it around the field. The middle's been great to him tonight. 5 for 5 over the middle, under 15 yards, and 1 for 1 deep down the middle.
One thing for Florida, at least they can take away from that drive, is that they were able to block the extra point to keep it to a 20-point game as opposed to a 21-point game.
There's Rose Murphy. Eli Rogers' mom, Trinae, there. You mentioned Eli and Teddy are the best of friends. Their moms are very close. Luchez Purifoy with the angle kickoff that they've used in the second half of the year to really improve their kickoff coverage, and that's the way Charlie Strong wants it executed. Zed Evans down there like a rocket to blow up the return.
And I think Ved's out on his feet because he's going to get him with his head right here. But a good job of selling out. You can see he hit him kind of right in the knee with his head, just trying to get his body across the ball. Did not get his arms out. But guys are playing reckless. They're playing with purpose and they're playing with passion. And it's evident how they cover kicks. And he's giving the thumbs up.
Well, he is not quite sure where he is. And hopefully they're both okay. Charlie Strong surrounded by medical staff tending to Zed Evans. While we were away, both players involved in the tackle on the kickoff went to the locker room. Luchez Purifoy hobbled off with help. Zed Evans clearly still a little bit wobbly, escorted to the Louisville dressing room. In terms of its impact on the game, a much bigger loss for Florida. Purifoy is a starting corner, their best cover man. Driscoll comes out throwing. Andre DeBose the catch. Adrian Buchel the tackle after a short gain. Florida's going to go up tempo. There's a long way to go in this game, nearly the entire second half. Looks like Florida, which has been predominantly a running team, going to abandon the run. Louisville blitzes. Driscoll, the ball straight up in the air. It is a live ball for now. It is being ruled a fumble, recovered by Lorenzo Malden. Driscoll was hit just as he wound up to throw. The ball went straight up in the air, and Malden has recovered for Louisville. They'll mark it at the 4-yard line.
DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam coming right at you. Number 25, Calvin Pryor on the corner blitz. This is where the quarterback has to be accountable to the blitzer and get rid of the ball. You're late with the ball. Pryor's coming untouched and are able to make the sack and recovery. And again, field position set up by the Cardinals by the aggressive play calling of Charlie Strong and Vance Bedford.
Bedford, the defensive coordinator, another Florida assistant coach under Urban Meyer, who came with Charlie.
Sean, Driscoll has to have that clock in his head, understanding that blitz is coming. You have to get rid of the football. You're accountable as a quarterback for a blitzer.
Will Muschamp all the way down near the 5-yard line. He's coming unglued here.
Short timeout
called.
Florida, their first timeout of the half.
Well, this is a stunning development. I think one thing that we're seeing is there certainly wasn't enough credit or respect given to Louisville coming into this game. Most people, many people thought it would be a blowout, but the other way. And boy, a lot of what Florida's doing. The onside kick. They're going to a spread offense like they used to play when Urban Meyer was the coach, but Now this year they've been a pounded out on the ground team. They had plenty of time.
Yeah, no need to panic, and they really didn't are patient to stick with the run and really being a little bit undisciplined tonight too. If you look at some of the penalties, especially on the onside kick, Louisville recovers. Then you have Chris Johnson throwing a right hook. I have no idea why he's throwing right hooks, but that's discipline, and that's on Will Muschamp. That's something that he has to take care of.
Chance to blow this game completely wide open. If it isn't there already. Leading by 20. First and goal, Louisville. Jeremy Wright. The token run that they keep trying just to let them know they might do it. That's just about the same result. Every running play, a loss of 2. Dominic Easley blew it up.
That time Florida, what we talked about at the start of the second half, getting a little impatient on defense, and they want to create, make something happen. So what do? You start bringing more folks, bring 5, 6, 7 guys, disrupt.
Play action pass. Bridgewater under duress and swung down for a big sack near the 18-yard line. Damon Jacobs got there first. His first sack of the year, backup defensive lineman.
It's tough to run play action, Sean, when you're blitzing. Exactly what Florida did. They came with the blitz. Teddy Bridgewater had his back turned a little bit to the coverage.
And I'm pretty sure Florida knew that was not going to be another running play. It was likely to be a pass.
I think that's what Will talked about, something they do a little bit earlier in the year, and that started to bring pressure, bring 5, bring 6, bring 7, bring whatever you have to bring to disrupt Teddy Bridgewater.
A huge difference here. Florida could force a field goal attempt. Looked to be about a certain touchdown when they took over at the 4. After a 12-yard loss, here's another loss. Back to the 26-yard line. Sharif Floyd got to Bridgewater. Oh, what a huge development this is. The Florida defense rising up.
Big number 73, Sharif Floyd. Nice little X game with Easley. Easley takes 3 blockers. And the key to that, when you run that little game, the delayed rusher, which was Floyd, you have to be patient and allow the pick to happen, just like in basketball.
43-yard attempt for John Wallace. I mentioned he's perfect this year inside of 40, but just 2 for 5 beyond 40, and his struggles continue. Those penalties of the lost yardage plays really hurt. At the very least, it would have been a chip shot field goal. A horrible possession by Louisville, perhaps with a chance to bury Florida. Successive losses of 2, 12, and 8 yards, and then the missed field goal.
The Allstate Sugar Bowl is brought to you by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost. Vizio, ranked highest in customer satisfaction with HD TVs by J.D. Power and Associates. Tostitos, where there's Tostitos, there's a party. And the new Discover It card, finally a credit card that's changing the game.
Well, a great opportunity, perhaps, to bury Florida, squandered by Louisville. Couldn't capitalize on the turnover by Jeff Driscoll. Gators -2 tonight after they were +17 for the year in turnover margin. Tied for 5th in the nation after -12 last year. Pass complete to Jordan Reed. First catch of the night for their leading receiver. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, I asked Charlie Strong what his major point of emphasis was defensively for the second half. He says defending the junk plays. He says really concerned about Florida's use of the unbalanced line, the creative packages featuring Trey Burton. He says otherwise they've been fine, but when they use some of those intricate formations, says they got to do a better job of getting lined up and recognizing what Florida's trying to do.
It's a pretty good deal.
Sportsmanlike conduct charge against the Florida bench for being in the white. 15-yard penalty.
Wow.
Correction. 15-yard penalty. Second down.
And that has to usually be preceded by a warning, but 9 times out of 10. unless you run into a coach, which I think would happen down there.
Well, they're still in the white. But remember, Will Muschamp is well beyond it.
Usually each team has a get-him-back coach. Jeff Delman, the strength coach, and that's usually assigned to the strength coach to get him back, so that doesn't happen.
We've had some huge penalties. Second and 18. Look out. Driscoll nearly stripped again. Got it off. Quentin Dunbar stood up at the 30. Here we go. And the woofing has begun in earnest. It's actually already underway. Marcus Smith very nearly got to Driscoll. Third down, 5 Florida. They haven't converted a third down tonight. 0 for 4. A Louisville blitz. And Driscoll throws deep. And it is incomplete. Nearly picked off by Hakeem Smith. And it looked like Trey Burton was open.
Nice job of Hakeem Smith. And to me, Driscoll still hesitates a little bit. Here comes the pressure. That little look to the left when he had the guy streaking Burton down the field. And Hakeem Smith coming and just barely getting the ball, tipping it away.
Burton had some running room. Driscoll couldn't put it in the right spot. There's Kyle Christie to punt. Will Muschamp says his tandem of Christie and the field goal kicker Sturge is the best duo in the country. Hard to argue. Kai Dominguez makes the fair catch for Louisville. 47-yard punt. Monday night, two of the most storied programs in the history of college football collide in the Discover BCS National Championship game. Manti Te'o and the Fighting Irish looking to secure their first national title since 1988. While A.J. McCarron and the Crimson Tide trying to win their third in the last 4 years, which would make history. They'd be just the third team to do that in the poll era. Notre Dame and Nebraska the others. 1 versus 2 Monday night, 8 o'clock on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN.
Well, I'm one of the few guys that picked Notre Dame in that game. It's that front seven, Sean, and coming into that game, only 2 rushing touchdowns all year. That's pretty darn good.
The run effective here for Louisville. Jeremy Wright, who before that carry had 11 carries for exactly 0 yards rushing, now has 12 carries and 14 yards rushing. Josh Evans made the tackle.
Well, that's just a quick hitter. Sean Watson told us that you're not going to run outside against Florida or long developing counters with pulling guys. The only way they thought to be somewhat effective running the football was the quick hitters. Exactly what that was by Jeremy Wright. And Sean Watson's caught a heck of a game so far.
Former offensive coordinator at Nebraska. He's been at Colorado, Illinois, Miami of Ohio, and he says Teddy Bridgewater is the best player I've ever coached. And that pass is almost intercepted off the hands of Copeland, and it was hanging there for Jalen Watkins. The good news for Florida after the loss of Purefoy is they do have depth at corner. They have 3, Roberson, Watkins, and Purefoy, who all rotate a lot. So with Watkins and Roberson still healthy and available, they have 2 guys who are essentially starters still out there.
Yeah, and you also have a good, strong man cover guy in Matt Elam, if need be.
Damon Jacobs, the injured player, defensive lineman. Part of that deep defensive front. Louisville came in at 10-2 for the year. They're looking for their first 11-win season since 2006, when they had the best year in school history, went 12-1 and won the Orange Bowl over Wake Forest. They hadn't won more than 7 games since. Bobby Petrino left. Steve Cragthorpe replaced him. He went 15-21 in 3 years after Petrino and before Strong. Charlie got it back on the right track. 7 and 6 seasons, each of his first 2. 10 wins this year in his 3rd, and trying to make it 11 wins in a year for just the 4th time in the history of Louisville football. Bridgewater throws quickly, caught in the flat by Eli Rogers. He's a yard shy of the first down at the 45, tackled by Jeremy Brown. There's the turnaround. 2 7 and 6 seasons and a 10 and 2. And he thinks they're a little bit ahead of schedule. He thought they would be good this season, but he really believes with what they have coming back next year, they have a chance to really be a factor on the national stage.
He loves his sophomore class.
And when you have this guy, as you said at the beginning of the telecast, you have a chance. Bridgewater throws on the run, right on target again. B.J. Butler, the former defensive end, who I think has touched the ball much more than he expected tonight. That's a 20-yard gain and a first down for the Cardinals at the Florida 35.
And Bridgewater's going to read the coverage from back to front, meaning if the front guy is being jumped, he's going to throw to the back receiver. McCray, number 34, jumps the underneath route, leaving Butler all alone. That's the sign of a good quarterback. You read where to throw the ball from deep to short.
Bridgewater swings it quickly. Kai Dominguez got sent spinning by Matt Elam. No gain on the play.
Well, that's what I love to see from Matt Elam. There's a couple times on film where he'll come up and just bump a guy, miss some tackles. That time he came up and wrapped up and finished. And anytime you wrap up, and this is what they need right now, you have the chance to pop that ball loose and strip it. He's explosive now. Number 22, Matt Elam.
Will Muschamp says he's as productive a safety as he's been around. The old coach LeRon Landry at LSU, Earl Thomas at Texas, both first-round picks. Whoa! Wright lost his helmet again, but has another productive run on this drive. Elam delivered the big hit, and it is going to be marked shy of the yard to make.
Now, first of all, he needs to get to the trainer or the equipment guy and get that chin strap tight. Even though that's a good, solid shot, that helmet should not pop off that easy. There's no way. They need to get that fixed and addressed right now for the safety of the kid. That's twice tonight.
Corbin Lamb is the running back now. Nick Heiser, the fullback. Bridgewater keeps for the first down. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean Luchez Purifoy, Florida corner in the locker room right now, unlikely to return an injury to his lower leg.
And keep in mind, Sean, the way Louisville operates, they're using all the shot clock up there. They're taking their time before they snap the football, which is good, smart coaching. 22 minutes to 15 in time of possession.
Lamb, not the biggest guy, but he powered through the tacklers inside the 20. The safeties, Josh Evans and Matt Elam. Let's give credit to this offensive line. It's done a terrific job protecting Bridgewater. Mario Benavides, the center, is one of the best in the country. He was a finalist for the Remington Award as the best center in the country. His first team All Big East. 47th career start. And he's svelte. He played at 310 pounds last year. He's 280 now. He said he feels much quicker and hasn't lost the power. Jeremy Wright, he's like you. He probably works out about 4 times a day. I don't know how many times a day you get on the treadmill for an hour at a time, but it's more than one.
I know. I got to keep that titanium hip loose or it locks up on me. I'm there with you, buddy. We're getting you back. You're going to be Diesel again. McDiesel.
I got a little ways to go yet to keep up with you.
Sure, Raph will get you in the weight room and train you.
3rd down and 5. Six minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Eli Rogers, the motion man. Bridgewater might be changing the play with the play clock running out. And a timeout called. Charlie Strong ran out of patience.
Timeout, Louisville.
Looked like he got the snap off in time, but Charlie wasn't sure that was going to happen.
I'm Snow. And just like you, the further in the winter we go, the heavier I get. And while your pants struggle to support the heavier you, your roof struggles to support the heavier me. And your cut rate insurance might not pay for this. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. So get an Allstate agent. Are you in good hands?
How advanced is the new Ford Fusion? Well, it has outstanding performance and handling, and it offers a plug-in hybrid that gets a projected 100 mpge. Of course, there's still one thing it can't do. Introducing the entirely new Ford Fusion. It's an entirely new idea of what a car can be.
What's better, faster or slower?
Faster!
Yeah, what's fast?
My mom's car and a cheetah.
Okay.
A spaceship.
Spaceship. And what's slow?
My grandma's slow.
Would you like her better if she was fast?
I bet she would like it if she was fast.
Maybe give her some turbo boosters.
Tape of cheaters to her back.
Tape a cheetah to her back. Seems like you've thought about this before.
It's not complicated. Faster is better. An iPhone 5 downloads fastest on AT&T 4G.
Who is that?
Texas Chainsaw, rated R, starts Friday.
Saving a few bucks.
Same here. Wendy's.
Saving doesn't mean settling.
Going in.
Introducing Wendy's new right price, right size menu. Loaded with big tastes you can't get anywhere else. Starting at 99 cents.
Now that's better.
Jadeveon Clowney from South Carolina is a nominee for the AT&T All-American Player of the Year. Clowney's a dominant defensive end for the Gamecocks. He had 54 tackles, 23.5 tackles for loss, and 13 sacks this season. Now text VOTE to 34763 from your mobile phone to vote. The winner will be announced during the Discover BCS National Championship on January 7th.
Jadeveon might have helped his candidacy with that tackled forced fumble yesterday. Key play in their Outback Bowl win over Michigan. Here's a key play for Louisville, leading by 20 more than midway through the third quarter. 3rd down and 5 for the Cardinals, just inside the 20-yard line. Bridgewater out of the pistol, setting up a screen to right. Nice cut to the inside for the first down. He got blasted again by Elam. Held onto the ball, kept his helmet on, and got a first down. Michael Taylor also in on the tackle for the Gators.
A game of inches. When I'm talking about Sharif Floyd does an outstanding job getting on the screen pass right here, but just a tad late. But the key to it and why the success of the play was that Bridgewater puts the ball right on target. They never have to work, so he's able to transition to that run catch to get the first down. Floyd made a heck of an effort, just short.
Will Muschamp said on the way off at the half, they need to get better on 3rd down defense. Ooh, problem on the handoff, and Wright scooped it back up and took off.
And this is something I don't know why you do this. Because of this exact reason. You're moving. You have a good quarterback. You don't need to get fancy and go wildcat. You don't need to do it, because the only thing that can happen are bad things. Like, especially when you're asking a guy to ride the running back coming through.
Wright took the direct snap. Did not make a clean handoff to Lamb. Bridgewater's back in. 2nd and 8. Right again. The 9-yard line. We're in the 3rd quarter, but you know the Gators have to be looking up with the clock, because with every possession, Louisville is eating up huge chunks of time. Damon Jacobs walking slowly toward the Florida locker room.
Yeah, and everybody that follows college football understands that Florida's offense is not exactly quick strike and built to come from behind.
No, they're not. Although since the end of the first half, they've gone away from their standard offense. 13th play of this drive. They've used up almost 7 minutes. Bridgewater throws, incomplete. Some confusion on the routes, it seemed. Went over the head of Damian Copeland. There's another field goal try. They've missed an extra point and a field goal here, with a chance to make it much more difficult on Florida in the third quarter. There's Wallace again. 13 for 13. Inside of 40 yards this year. He's been a big part of their success this season. Game winner in overtime against Cincinnati. The game winner at Rutgers with less than 2 minutes to go. And that 26-yarder is good. Flag down now. It stands. It's the largest lead of the night for Louisville.
Speaking of flags, that's 8 so far for Florida. Penalties for 93 yards. Louisville, 1 for 10.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 53, 15-yard penalty. The field goal is no good. Repeat, 4th down.
Called on Jake Smith, starting offensive guard. Now it's Charlie Strong's turn to be less than pleased. Just the second penalty against Louisville. And now they're going to make it a field goal of longer than 40. We've talked about the huge difference this year for Wallace with his miss from beyond 40 tonight. He's just 2 out of 6 from beyond 40 yards. Perfect inside of it. So the points come off the board. This will be a 41-yard try. Wow. Louisville squanders another chance to pad the lead. Sharif Floyd appeared to get a piece of it.
Didn't look like much penetration, Sean, so that tells me that's a low kick.
The chop block against Smith really hurt Louisville. Sharif Floyd got through there, and Earl O'Kine, plenty of penetration as well.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Well, Louisville squandered some opportunities, but they've been running the clock down. Florida's run just 5 plays here in the third quarter for a total of 7 yards. They have to get the offense moving, down by 20. Late in the third quarter now. Omarius Hines gets 9 on first down. Great chances for Louisville squandered. They had a 1st and goal at the 4 after Jeff Driscoll fumbled. Got no points out of that. They had 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. Made it as deep as the 9-yard line on the last possession, but the chop block took the field goal off the board, and they didn't get any points on that possession either. 2nd and 1. Mike Gillisley. Gillisley has not been a factor at all. He's had 5 100-yard rushing games. They haven't been on the field very much. They've been behind all night. They've been throwing more than usual. That's just his 5th carry of the night. Now 6 carries for 21 yards.
Opposite of how they're built and what they've done all year.
Driscoll surrounded and throws it at the feet of Gillisley.
Sean, coming in this game, 36 sacks given up by Florida. A big reason is, and they addressed this yesterday, is that he holds on to the football. You have to make a decision and throw the ball. You see open receivers, give it to him right now, and that's the reason. That protection wasn't that bad. He held on to the ball too long, which caused the sack or the incomplete. the pressure.
Another problem that they have, to be fair to Driscoll, and he admits he's a big part of the problem, especially early in the year. He had 8 sacks at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But they don't have a lot of playmakers at wide receiver. They have guys who struggle to get open. Driscoll throws a fastball, and it is incomplete. Terrell Floyd lowered the boom on Omarius Hines, and then Floyd got the worst of it.
First of all, it's a good read by Driscoll, hitting number 2 down the seam away from the safeties. Floyd will come from the backside and deliver a nice little shot. That low, looked like he got his shoulder a little bit. Let's see if his head.
I wonder if he got hurt by his own man. Well, his head did snap back on the contact with Hines. Hakeem Smith, the safety, in there at the end of the play.
But missed opportunity for a big play by Florida. Driscoll delivered the ball right in Hines' hands, where he has to come up and make that catch.
And Floyd is a big playmaker. They had to win their regular season finale at Rutgers to share the Big East title and get the BCS bid. And in that game, Floyd had 2 huge plays very late. He forced a fumble on a Rutgers kickoff return, and then he had an interception with 1:06 to go that sealed the win. And of course, he had the interception return for a touchdown, the first play of this game tonight, 15 seconds in. That's a big loss if he can't return. Driscoll, look out! Down back at the 26-yard line. Lorenzo Malden with help from Sheldon Rankins.
DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam right here. The pressure is going to come from inside, and it's just 4 men, so they don't need to get zone pressure. It's that little X game again where they come, where Rankins does a good job of splitting the double team.
True freshman, his first sack of his career. What a time to get it. Al Christie got it off. Line drive punt. Ty Dominguez. Thrown down at the 40-yard line by John Bostic, their starting middle linebacker. Tomorrow night, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Oregon and Kansas State to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. 4 versus 5. 2 teams that were in the conversation for most of the year. An eye toward the national championship game, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, 8 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN. Contrasting styles in that one. Should be fun to watch.
Yeah, two good coaches, and interesting to see how Oregon respond with Chip Kelly getting a little bit of interest possibly from NFL teams. I know one thing, Bill Snyder will have his guys ready to play. Outstanding coach.
Chip Kelly's getting quite a bit of interest.
Yes.
From the NFL. Under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Incomplete pass thrown by Bridgewater, intended for Copeland. Who do you like in that game tomorrow night?
Well, I like Oregon. I think they're the most explosive offense that I've seen in a long time, and it all goes with Marcus Mariota. I mean, the kid can run it, he can throw it. He had all this skill around him. But when you look at Colin Klein and the career that he has, one thing I know about that kid, he's a winner and he's a competitor.
Kind of fancy our backdrop here tonight. You know it's a big game when we have backdrops. I feel like we should be doing the weather standing in front of this thing. It's a nice look. Bridgewater's pass deflected high in the air and intercepted. Josh Evans has the ball for Florida. Dominique Easley was the man who deflected it straight up in the air and caused the first turnover of the night by Louisville.
It's all about awareness. You know you're not going to get there as far as your rush goes. Do everything you can. Does a little spin. Bats it up with his right hand, and Josh Evans did a good job. Once that ball was tipped, he was able to push the receiver, which you're allowed to do since the ball was tipped, get him out of the way and make the catch. Great awareness by Evans.
His 3rd interception to the senior from Irvington, New Jersey. 20th interception of the year for the Florida Gators. Their 30th takeaway in 13 games. Now back to their typical offensive look. Out of the pistol, Gillisley, a power run. Down near the 25-yard line. 11 yards.
Little different look, Sean. They had the unbalance to the left, but Louisville shifted over a guy. So what do? They come back to the unbalanced side to the right. It's kind of what we expected to see throughout the game.
Took a long time to get that play off. Gillislee pummeled behind the line of scrimmage. James Burgess, the true freshman, and Preston Brown.
Give an assist to number 48, Mount. They have Poolers, and Mount disregards trying to make the tackle. What his job is he comes in and he takes out as many blockers as he can so the linebackers can run free and make the plays like they're supposed to make.
61 yards rushing for Florida tonight. Trey Burton back in with the Wildcat. Down to a half minute to go in the third quarter. Take the handoff to Hines, looking for a running lane, and does not find one. Down just across the line of scrimmage in the arms of the true freshman from Homestead, Florida, James Burgess.
Undersized linebacker, 210 pounds, and Charlie told us he can run. Certainly did there, and it's not kind of a long developing play, just kind of running sideways and lateral. Eventually you got to make a decision and hit it upfield.
That'll be the end of the third quarter. They sense it in the Louisville stands. Perhaps 15 minutes away from the biggest win in school history.
Have a good day.
Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl from New Orleans. Heading to the fourth quarter. The Louisville Cardinals of the Big East Conference. Much maligned is the Big East, leading Florida 30-10. Huge play here for Florida. Third down 10, the Louisville 26. They go in the bag of tricks. Omarius Hines. Good call and well executed. And a first down to the Louisville 11. Calvin Pryor and Jermaine Reeve made the tackle.
Taking advantage of an over-pursuing defense. Coming off the edge, they lose Contain. Contain is forcing the ball back inside to your help. See number 25 again. Calvin Pryor was coming on a blitz, but lost where the football was. Good recognition by Brent Pease.
Yeah, Chris, they've gone back to more typical Florida offense here. But they kind of need to stick with the hurry up. They're running the play clock down into the single digits with almost every snap. They're 3 scores down. Driscoll hit as he throws and just did get it off with Marcus Smith all over him. They want a grounding call on the Louisville sideline.
They had the screen set up, the middle screen, and it was a touchdown on the middle screen. But again, Driscoll just holds the ball just a tad too long. See the tight end coming in here with a convoy of players that would take him to the promised land. Just a little late.
That's why it wasn't grounding. It was just behind Clay Burton, the backup tight end, the intended receiver, the brother of Trey Burton. Driscoll goes out wide left. Trey Burton back in the Wildcat on 2nd and 10 from the 11. Andre DeBose. They fake the handoff to him. Burton stood up at the 9-yard line. Chopped down by Calvin Pryor, living up to his all Big East accolades. And Chris, we talk about the much maligned Big East. Tim Tebow and the Gators beat a Big East team, Cincinnati, the last time he played for Florida here. The Big East gets a lot of guff for not being a very good football conference. On their last 7 bowl games, BCS bowl games, the last 7 years, they're 4-3. And 26-14 in all bowl games. 2-1 this year, entering tonight. And the only loss was the Rutgers heartbreaker in overtime to Virginia Tech. Cincinnati and Syracuse have already won bowl games. It's a better football conference than it's been given credit for. Of course, it's constantly in flux these days. Driscoll on 3rd and 8. Zips one. Intercepted. Off the hands of Dunbar. And picked off by Andrew Johnson, who's chased out of bounds by Driscoll. Third Florida turnover of the night. And this one might have sealed their fate. Off the hands of Dunbar. And snatched by the sophomore from Miami, Andrew Johnson, his first of the year. Back in New Orleans, and they're already starting to party in the Louisville cheering sections. First interception of his career for Andrew Johnson, sophomore from Miami. Louisville takes over. Zone 22, leading by 20. Florida's not scored here in the second half. It could be a blowout had Louisville fully capitalized on some terrific chances to add the lead here in the second half. Leon Orr made the tackle on Jeremy Wright. Jeff Driscoll had thrown only 3 interceptions all season long. He's thrown 2 tonight.
7 points off those 3 turnovers for Louisville. Florida unable to capitalize off of their interception.
And Bridgewater, very intelligent. He'll run the play clock down. The 5. Florida blitz. Out on the flat it goes. Eli Rogers the catch. He has a first down. 13-yard gain to his best friend. They've overcome a lot to be in this wonderful position tonight. Grew up in a very difficult neighborhood in Miami, each with a lot of challenges to overcome. We mentioned Teddy Bridgewater's mom battling cancer for many years. Eli Rogers' mother, who's here tonight, there's Trinae, has been battling AIDS for the last 11 years. And her son has played a huge role in making sure that she gets all of the medical care and attention that she needs. And the days have been difficult. Many times Eli's relied on Teddy Bridgewater and his mom. Rogers, the intended receiver. A lot of times, Chris, we do these games, then you'd watch the game and you don't realize some of the stories that impact these young people, the things that they've had to go through. Remarkable.
It is, and that's why it's important for those kids to get the opportunity. Their football team and their coaches, that's their team, and that's the people that they rely on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, but more importantly, dealing with life issues. You make your best friends on your football team.
Those 2 young men, Teddy and Eli, as teenagers, really facing the task of taking care of their mothers in many ways. Jeremy Wright, the reception. Marcus Roberson chased him out. And how proud they are. And how their spirits have been lifted through their battles by the way their sons have conducted themselves in the community, on the playing field, in the classroom. Third down 5, 11.5 minutes to go. Bridgewater again on third down. And that's been as big a story as any tonight. They're 9 out of 12 on third down tonight against the Florida defense that was one of the best in the country coming in, best in the SEC at just over 28%.
You can see why Sean Watson calls him just one of the best players. Sean, when I look at Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback, he's natural. He gets it. He sees it. He's just one of those guys that has the talent, but more importantly, he gets the position.
And for a lot of his high school career, he's a wide receiver.
Went to Florida's football camp
as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
They might wish they had him there as a quarterback. Jeremy Wright finds a hole. Found much more running room here in the second half. Dante Fowler made the tackle. Under 11 minutes to go. Bridgewater 20 out of 30 passing tonight for 266 yards.
Well, again, it's about trust, anticipation, and knowing when to deliver the football. Stepping up into the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield. Little off target, but Eli made a nice catch. And right here, throwing to where your guy only gets it. On the fade or the fade stop, that was a slant and go. Taking advantage of throwing to a certain area, trusting that Copeland's going to make the catch.
This is 8 straight games now in which Bridgewater's thrown for at least 250 yards. And now Wright burst through the middle. And as a first down, lost the ball as he hit the ground. Ruled down by contact. It didn't matter as Damian Copeland fell on it. Marcus Roberson and Jalen Watkins. And all of a sudden they're finding success. This is the longest run of the season against the Florida Gator defense, 25 yards.
The last time they gave up a run that big on the cutback was against Tennessee.
That was a fumble. Copeland there. Now, the longest run against Florida prior to tonight was Morgan Newton of Kentucky. September 22nd, 24 yards. That was the shortest opponent long run in the nation against any team. That's amazing in this day and age of football. The longest run you've given up all year was 24 yards. Right, by the way, not long ago we mentioned he was 11 carries for 0 yards for the night. In this half, he's now 10 carries for 62 yards.
Sean, let's give credit to that offensive line, starting with Cupper, John Miller, Benavides, Jake Smith, Joyer, Brown. All those guys up front have done an outstanding job in pass protection and opened up the running lanes here late in the game.
Cameron Joyer's in at left guard now. Played both guard positions. He's going to win the battle of bragging rights in the Joyer household. Right. Hit immediately. Blitz off the corner. Matt Elam again. Cameron Joyer's brother is the starting fullback for the Florida Gators. Hunter Joyer. Cameron is about 2.5 years older. Didn't think they were going to play against each other, but they are tonight. They were home for Christmas. Their mom cursed us, and there was very little talk about football. All they did was what they usually do as brothers growing up together, give each other a hard time. Mom said leave their shoes and socks all over the house in the Tampa area. Blitz again. Bridgewater running out of time. Got it off just ahead of the contact from Dominique Easley. It was a big problem for the Joyer family tonight. What section would they sit in? What kind of gear would they wear to the games? One of the brothers, Cameron, in his Louisville red, and sophomore running back Hunter Joyer not enjoying this. Apparently the compromise was the mom, Kirsten, sat on the Gator side, which is not the happy side right now. And the dad, John, is in the Louisville section. Field goal is good for Wallace, 30-yarder. At least 2 for 4 tonight. And there's Mr. Joyer. Well, we were told he was going to be on the Louisville sideline.
The Allstate Sugar Bowl is brought to you by Allstate. Allstate is a proud sponsor of the Allstate Sugar Bowl. Are you in good hands? The 2013 Lexus LS and all-new LSF Sport. An entirely new pursuit. Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Well, Louisville native Muhammad Ali was on the field for the coin toss before the game. The Cardinals about to shock the world here in the Allstate Sugar Bowl. Leading 33-10. Another 5.5-minute possession leading to the field goal. John Wallace kicks off. Under 8 minutes to go. He's fired up. Got it into the end zone. Andre DeBose up the far sideline. There he goes. Don't change the channel just yet. Touchdown, Florida. Well, Chris, you mentioned earlier DeBose hasn't played since late October with a sprained knee. They were hoping he would provide some big plays with his speed tonight. He just did.
Yeah, and actually well executed by Louisville. This is exactly what they want to do, but DeBose does a good job of just hitting it straight. You see big Trey Burton getting the block and really untouched, Sean. He's their most explosive player out on the edges, and find a way to get him the ball. One way is to get him back there to return kicks, and he makes it pay off with a good block by Trey Burton.
Well, I mentioned at the beginning of the game, noticeable weakness for Louisville, special teams. Last in the Big East in kickoff coverage. And DeBose takes it 100 officially. It's a 16-point game. Still more than half of the fourth quarter to be played. Sunday night, 9 Eastern time on ESPN. More college football action with the GoDaddy.com Bowl. Kent State, what a great year they've had. Number 25 in the BCS. They'll take on the Sun Belt Conference champion, Arkansas State Red Wolves. Two teams are losing their coaches. This is Bush Hamden, who's been the wide receivers coach this year for Florida, stepped in as a GA when they had an opening on the staff just before the beginning of the year. He's going to Arkansas State to coach for the new coach Brian Harsin. Kent State, Arkansas State, Sunday at 9 on ESPN. Well, there's another onside kick, and it's out of bounds. Off the hands of Jarrell McGriff-Culver of Louisville. Flag down. Florida might have been offside. It's at the 35-yard line where they had it teed off.
Offside. Number 22 on the kicking team. The 5-yard penalty will be tacked onto the dead ball spot. First down.
Matt Elam. The onside kick hasn't been the friend of Florida tonight. I think that's a testimony, with more than half of the quarter be played and a couple of timeouts, to how Will Muschamp feels about his defense's ability to take the ball away from Louisville quickly, as he's watched the Cardinals have one long drive after another tonight.
I don't know if I would have maybe onside kicked it there. I probably would have kicked it deep, played aggressive, but I understand both ways and going that decision. But they haven't been able to stop Louisville all night.
Louisville had 9 minutes, 22 seconds of possession time in the third quarter. Jeremy Wright stuffed after a 1-yard gain by Matt Elam. Here's tonight's good hands play, brought to you by Allstate. And it was a terrific catch in the second quarter by Devontae Parker.
And the slant and go, and great hands, but also awareness of getting that left foot, dragging it in, and securing the football, and not letting the ground shake it loose.
They made it 24-3. We joined us late. Louisville scored a defensive touchdown the first play from scrimmage, interception return, and they've had their way almost the entire night. Matt Elam again. He's been in on just about every tackle for Florida. Bridgewater down back at the 41-yard line. Well, the clock is running. 6:40 to go.
That's what they're doing defensively. Dan Quinn is coming with the blitz to try to create some type of pressure. Create a turnover, get a big hit, anything to get the offense the ball and give them a shot. Get back in this.
Florida's had an incredible mark. They've been the best fourth quarter team in the country this year, outscoring their opponents 115-29 in the fourth quarter. That's paved the way for their comebacks. They think it's better strength and conditioning, more depth. The players are fresher later in the year. The blitz made Bridgewater throw it quickly. Incomplete in the direction of Kai Dominguez. 4th and 11. Here's the first punt of the night for Louisville. First time they've gone 3 and out tonight. Ryan Johnson's the kicker. Sophomore from Louisville. It's It's a good thing they haven't had to punt because they're second to last in the country in net punting. He got it off under some pressure. Well, even that's going their way tonight. Adrian Buechele down there to field the punt at the 3-yard line. Perfectly done. And under 6 minutes to go now in New Orleans. Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl. The Louisville Cardinal fans whooping it up. Perhaps 6 minutes away from the biggest win in school history. Fourth quarter's been great for Florida all year long. They're down by 16. They need 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. A long way to go to do that. Starting from their own 3, Driscoll just got it off and nearly threw another interception. Off the hands of the linebacker, Preston Brown. They've already picked him off twice tonight. Driscoll's turned it over 3 times. Also lost the fumble.
Preston Brown has played a nice game, but again, it's the same pressure that we've seen all night. You see number 25, Calvin Pryor, coming in, and Marcus Smith, the 2 guys that have been given pressure and creating havoc for the Florida protection.
Preston Brown has been in on 14 tackles tonight for the Louisville defense. Career high is 17. They're showing blitz. Mike Gillisley bounces outside with some running room. First down. Out to the 20-yard line. Andrew Johnson made the tackle. 17-yard run for Gillisley.
There's the patience of Gillisley. Waiting for the hole to open. Patient, hit it. Then you see the change of gear that Mike possesses. Hit him on the blitz. Got him outnumbered on the right side.
Again, Chris, in the huddle. Wouldn't you go at a faster tempo here?
Yes, I would. I just don't think they're comfortable doing it, but you have to do it.
5-man rush after Jeff Driscoll. There's a tight spiral for a first down to Quentin Dunbar. The 35-yard line. 15 yards, but even with that play, just 220 yards of offense tonight for the Florida Gators. All the talk coming in about the ferocious Florida defense, it has been the Louisville defense that's been terrific tonight. Trey Burton the catch. Out of bounds, shy of a first down. Forced out by Adrian Buechele, the former Gator. By his own admission, he was a bit of a problem child when he was at Florida. The kind of guy who was a little too mouthy with the coaches, late for meetings and practices, not always going to class as he should. After 2 years at Florida, he went to junior college, Coffeyville. And Charlie Strong, when he went from Florida to Louisville, brought him to Louisville. He's been a key part of these last 2 seasons. First team all Big East this year. And by all accounts, much more responsible citizen. Matt Jones at running back. He'll likely be the featured back next year for Florida with the departure of Gillisley. Driscoll running for his life. Slammed down just shy of the first down by Jermaine Reeve. And again, not as much urgency as you would expect out of the Florida offense.
Like what Louisville's doing on defense is also playing their guys deep. Not letting anything get behind them. They don't need to jump any underneath routes. Keep it in front of you and make a tackle inbounds.
3rd and 1. They're 1 out of 8 on 3rd down tonight. And they convert again.
Hey, he was there.
In the Louisville territory goes Frankie Hammond in his last game. Shoved out by Keith Brown, an 11-yard pickup. There's an injured Louisville player. So the clock is stopped. Calvin Pryor, the safety. He's a sophomore. And Chris, I think the future's bright for both of these teams. Not a lot of seniors on either team. Now Florida might lose a couple of talented juniors to the draft, but Louisville's got talent coming back all over the place. They have one more year in the Big East Conference in football, and Big East will have the automatic berth again into the BCS Bowls next year. And there's the 2 deep by class. Only 7 seniors on the depth chart for Charlie Strong. They have another good recruiting class coming in.
You know about Charlie, Sean, everybody knows that he's strong in X's and O's. He's a great leader. I watched him out of practice. He knows what's going on, and he's in control of everything. But I think the best quality that he has is that he's a great recruiter. I mean, he can go into a home, and when you talk to Charlie, there's just that presence that you have in a leader. He has that.
Man, a great character. He recruited a lot of the players on this Florida team tonight. Driscoll fires. Incomplete. Intended for Quentin Dunbar. Got upended by the former Gator Adrian Buechele. I think the thing that's still hard to explain is how it took till Charlie Strong was 50 years old to get a head coaching job. They asked him yesterday how many jobs he interviewed for. He said, oh boy, I'm not sure I could remember how many. There were lots of them. Given an opportunity by Tom Jurich, the athletic director of Louisville. That was a huge reason why Charlie decided to stay when Tennessee came calling in recent weeks. He has not forgotten who gave him that chance at long last. Dunbar the catch on his knees. And Louisville's a terrific place. They're going to the ACC, which they're very excited about. And
nice facilities.
Outstanding facilities. They spent a lot of money on their sports programs, and what a time it's been. They get the BCS bid. They get accepted to the ACC. They keep Charlie Strong, which was a big concern. Their basketball team is, again, one of the best in the country. Great time to be a Cardinal sports fan. Driscoll fires incomplete to the far sideline for Frankie Hammond. Lorenzo Malden is shaken up.
2-possession game, so obviously they get touchdown here. They go for 2, down by 16. And
they get to 8, and they have a lot of practice on the onside kick tonight.
Yeah, they can maybe execute one.
Third time might be a charm.
Unfortunately for Florida, Louisville executes their hands teams at a high level.
Malden, sophomore from Atlanta, being helped off. We talked about what these young men have overcome, so many of them. Malden, a young man who grew up almost his entire childhood without his dad, his mom battling addiction. She was in and out of prison, his mother. One of 5 children. Malden spent time in 16 foster homes as a young man. What a special night for him. If they can hang on to this. Jones rumbles inside the 10. 3 minutes to go. And the Gators on the verge of making this a very interesting situation. 17-yard run by the true freshman Jones down to the 2-yard line. Then they get up over it very quickly. Driscoll powers ahead, didn't get in, and that's a time-consuming play. And again, Chris, just watching them get up.
Yeah, you got to get with some sense of urgency, and
none.
Driscoll kind of gets low and tries to power it in there, but Louisville did a good job of their guys getting lower. The bigs got lower for Louisville than the Florida bigs.
And because Will Muschamp knew it was going to be very time-consuming, he's used one of his 2 remaining timeouts. 1 left for Florida. Uncharacteristic miscues, and started on the very first play from scrimmage. The interception returned for a touchdown by Terrell Floyd. They tried an onside kick in the second half, didn't get it. Got 2 penalties on the play. Driscoll a fumble. And then when it looked like they were going in to score a touchdown, interception by Andrew Johnson. 3 turnovers. They've been a great turnover team all year, but the one game that they lost against Georgia, they had 6 turnovers.
Yeah,
6 of their 12 for the regular season.
And the onside kick, and you almost can count that as a turnover because it was compounded by 2 15-yard penalties off of that with undisciplined play on Florida.
Gators have had 8 penalties tonight, right on their average. 2nd down and goal. They need to punch it in, get the 2 points. An onside kick again. Driscoll goes in motion. Omarius Hines in trouble. And stopped at the 5-yard line. Another big play by Andrew Johnson and Hakeem Smith.
Well-coached team. You mentioned it earlier, and I'll mention it now. When you see a certain formation where they're trying to outflank you, you see Andrew Johnson coming up, maintaining his responsibility, forcing the ball back inside, not letting anything get outside of him. Outstanding effort.
Boy, you're on the 1-yard line. You've been a power team all year long. And you run that play, it loses 4.
Almost like to see Matt Jones from the I formation punch it in.
Got a 6'4", 237-pound quarterback. In the flat, caught, touchdown. And they're still alive. Kent Taylor, the catch. Wasn't even listed on their depth chart entering the night.
It's coming all the way. They have 3 receivers lined up, going back to the quarterback's left. Taylor comes underneath on a tight end delay. Wide open. It's kind of a pick route. You see number 29 getting picked off right there. Hakeem Smith, who had a man-to-man, but too much traffic to weave through to get any type of coverage.
That's the 2nd catch of the season for Taylor. His first touchdown, 97-yard drive in 13 plays. Now they really must get this 2. Driscoll out of the gun. Look out! Wrapped up and thrown down by Marcus Smith. From behind, Driscoll didn't know he was there.
Marcus Smith will be coming from the top of your screen to your left side. Just beats Nixon, number 73. Here's Marcus Smith right here coming from the top of the screen. Just beats him with a speed rush. And almost, Sean, to me, it looks like Driscoll either has to make that decision or step up into the pocket just to cut off the angle of Marcus Smith's rush and make a decision to run. See, he kind of stays right there at the same plane. Could step up to buy himself a little bit more time or make the decision to tuck it and use that 236-pound body to get the 2-point play.
The BCS on ESPN is available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app, which Chris and I wear out. One of the great inventions of our lifetime, I think.
We used that on our 9-hour trip from San Antonio to New Orleans.
Yeah, it took us a little time to get over here to New Orleans. 3rd onside kick attempt of the night for Florida. And they're 0 for 3. Gathered in by Scott Radcliffe, and that should do it. Second BCS bowl game for Louisville. It's going to be their 2nd victory. And the Big East will be 5-3 in its last 8 BCS games. Florida's school record 4-game bowl winning streak is about to come to an end. After the game tonight, stay tuned for the Ford BCS post-game show, followed immediately by SportsCenter. Bridgewater handed it off. Tale of 2 halves tonight for Jeremy Wright, the junior running back. First down to the 33-yard line.
What a statement by Louisville coming into this game. Averaging under 2 yards a carry. Jeremy Wright running hard. The offensive line, I can't say enough about the job they've done, both in pass protection and run blocking. Great effort up front all around for the Cardinals.
In the first half, 10 rushes for 2 yards. Then after his first carry of the second half, he was at 11 rushes for no yards. Now Jeremy's up to 74 yards. They're stuck with the run. Beasley was offside. Right. Now he delivers a blow to Matt Elam, who yanked it out. It was too late. Play to the 25-yard line, under a minute and a half to go. And the Gatorade bucket ready on the Louisville sideline. Notre Dame and Alabama Monday nights in the Discover BCS National Championship game. Notre Dame #1, Alabama #2. Coverage begins Monday, January 7th, 8 o'clock.
You know, a guy that I don't think gets enough credit. He's a really good football player as a quarterback for Alabama, McCarron. I think he's outstanding. He'll be challenged with that front seven, the Fighting Irish.
Florida did not play Alabama this season. Wright carries for a first down. And the celebration has begun in earnest on the Louisville sideline in their cheering section. And Charlie does get the Gatorade bath. Tom Jurich, the man who gave him the opportunity to be a head coach after 27 years of outstanding service as an assistant coach. An emotional hug there.
Charlie showed his loyalty by staying at Louisville after some people came a-courting.
Hope they don't get penalized for being in the white part of the sideline there.
As long as the referee doesn't run into him.
That's it. Teddy Bridgewater and the Louisville Cardinals with the biggest win in school history. Their second BCS win. Well, the first was against Wake Forest, a team that did not come in anywhere near as highly touted as Florida came into this one. It's the fourth 11-win season in the history of Louisville football. They'll end at 11-2, as will the Gators. They led all the way from 15 seconds into the game to the finish. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Coach Charlie Strong shaking hands with Jeremy Foley. Emotional time down here, obviously, Sean. Coach Strong, what was most responsible for that win tonight?
Well, you know what we did, just playing the whole time, and we just knew that we had to make plays, and what we didn't want to do was just let them get going on offense. Knew we had to play physical and just not give up the big play.
You talked about respect and belief all week long. Where did that show up tonight?
Well, I'll tell you this, Pollard got us fired up earlier today when he said that it's going to be a 15-point game in their favor and it's going to feel like a 30-point game. And then he said our defense hadn't played well all year, so this is for him. But I would say this, the game ball go to that group up there, those fans. Look at that. That's what it's all about.
How do you describe the play of your quarterback?
Oh, he's an unbelievable player. I've always said it, I still believe this. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
How do you possibly put this win in perspective, Coach, in year 3 for Louisville?
Well, we always say this. We need to take this program to a different level. And we knew that this was going to be a big game for us and just set the tone for next season for this whole program.
What was it like for you, Coach, to look across and see the team that you coached for 15 years? You built your resume there. And you're going head-to-head with them tonight.
Oh, it was tough, and it was. I built my resume there and I have so much respect for that program. But just to watch those players play in the Boston, and it was just great just sitting there watching them.
Congratulations, Coach. We're bringing Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy, what were your expectations tonight when you took the field?
Oh, we just came in. Our main goal was to just come out with the victory. You know, we worked hard for this moment. And, you know, it started way back in January during the spring. And I'm just proud of my teammates right now.
What was it like to deliver this kind of a performance in front of your mom, Rose?
It was great. It was wonderful. You know, she's been by my side along the way since I started playing football. I'm just so proud to have her still supporting me.
How do you best describe your success on third down tonight, specifically in the first half where you couldn't miss?
You know, we work hard. We work hard on third down. And thank you, boy. I already know.
A lot of guys who played against each other since the time they're about 8.
Yeah, like I said, we practice hard. We work hard on nickel downs throughout the long break. And, you know, we just came in today. We had a nice third down plan, and we executed it.
What was it like for you when Coach Strong's name was thrown about the country, potentially taking another job and leaving Louisville, and then he decides to stay? What was that like?
Well, I had no doubt in my mind that he was leaving, for one. And when he decided to stay, it just showed how loyal he is to the program, man. It showed that he cares about his players.
National coming out party for you. Look around, there's a Teddy 5, posters and T-shirts, potential Heisman campaign. What does that feel like?
That's a great feeling, but, you know, I wouldn't be at this point right now without my teammates.
Congratulations, Teddy. Sean, back to you.
Because the Big East doesn't get a lot of exposure on national TV, a lot of football fans didn't know much about Teddy Bridgewater. I think what Matt Elam said coming in, Florida safety, might be accurate. He might be the best quarterback they faced all season long, and they did play the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, I love him on third down, Sean. He uses the whole field, and again, it's anticipation and accuracy.
Bridgewater threw for 266 and 2 touchdowns. The defense held Florida to 286 yards. The Louisville Cardinals, the All-State Sugar Bowl champs. Stay tuned for the Ford BCS postgame show, including the awards ceremony and much more right after these messages.
This postgame report is presented by the all-new 2013 Ford Escape. It's what happens when you go further.
We welcome you to the Ford BCS postgame show. Surprising result tonight, Louisville, a 2-touchdown underdog. In control throughout the night and wins by 10 over Florida. Let's send you down to the podium now. Here's Chris Fowler with the All-State Sugar Bowl Awards ceremony. Chris.
Sean, thank you. Good evening, folks. On a milestone night for Louisville football, we'll hear from Charlie Strong and Teddy Bridgewater momentarily. But here's the All-State Sugar Bowl president, Jack Laborde.
On behalf of the Sugar Bowl committee, I want to recognize Coach Charlie Strong, the Louisville Cardinals, as champions of the 2013 All-State Sugar Bowl. Congratulations to your fans, to your coaching staff, to your university, and the fans who came visit our wonderful city and support your team. Congratulations.
And now to present the trophy to Charlie Strong, Tom Wilson, the chairman, the president, and the CEO of All-State.
Coach Strong, your team combined grit, determination. You played with the head. You played with the heart, man. This is a great victory for your fans here. And, yeah, let's hear it. Woo! Now, this trophy should not only be a sign of your victory, it should be an inspiration for all of America that it is teamwork and commitment that make it happen. Congratulations on a great win. Nice job.
Tom, thank you. Charlie, the Louisville native Muhammad Ali, who was here earlier, once said, I shook up the world. In BCS Bowl terms, you guys shook up the world. What made this group in front of you believe it was possible when nobody else outside the program thought it was?
Well, we always talk about just teamwork, and it's all about us, and we don't ever worry about another opponent. But I will say this to you. The game ball goes to this group back here, to our fans. Yes! Right there, yes!
Here comes the confetti. You ready for this?
You ready for that?
You made a commitment to stay at Louisville. These are exciting times. Cardinals are off to a new conference. What does this say about the state of this program beating a team from the SEC?
Well, it's big for our program, and we know this. We still have a long ways to go. We're nowhere where we need to be. But with the players and the commitment they continue to have, and with a quarterback like number 5, we feel like that we can take this program to another level.
Most of us hadn't seen a quarterback as tough as Teddy Bridgewater. What can you say about his play tonight when it began by almost getting his head knocked off over here?
Oh, he did. The first play was a personal foul, but what a competitor. We saw it in the Rutgers game, and then you see it tonight on the grand stage, and he is, without a doubt, one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Allow yourself to reflect on what it means to you personally. Florida was the place where you got your start. They gave you your chance, allowed you to showcase your coaching skills, and to come in here and dominate them tonight.
Well, it's special, and I look at that program, and it's a special program to me, and I will always have the memories there. But we always talk about building a program here at the University of Louisville, and it is a special place, and we have a chance to build us a good, solid program, and it started tonight, and we hope that we can continue to build on and on.
Congratulations, Louisville Cardinals. The Sala Foundation indeed on display tonight. Now the chairman of the All-State Sugar Bowl Executive Committee, David Melius, to present the Most Outstanding Player trophy. To Teddy Bridgewater, the quarterback for the Cardinals. Teddy, congratulations. You've got the trophy. You've got the game ball. As we said, your night began with a personal foul when all these Cardinal fans behind me here were gasping as your helmet came flying off and you hit the turf. What is the source of your toughness?
Pretty much it just comes from the man above. You know, I give all the glory to God. And, you know, I just want to thank my mom also. You know, she's been there through her battles and she taught me her toughness. And this coaching staff also, they're pretty tough on us and they don't show any mercy.
You'd seen all the tape. You'd seen all the stats. You guys did what most people thought was impossible against the Florida defense that was so good in so many categories. What made you believe you could do it?
We just saw on film that a lot of quarterbacks that the University of Florida faced, you know, they didn't take what the defense gave them. You know, you saw quarterbacks forcing throws and things like that, but, you know, Coach Watson, he called up a great game plan, and, you know, we just executed it today.
What does it say about the future of this program? And it said you're back for at least another year.
Oh, it says a lot. It says a lot. You know, we were the underdogs coming into this game, and it just meant a lot for not just this team, but, you know, for the city of Louisville. You know, we have our fans. They're showing their support, and they've been with us since day one. And for us to just get this win and put Louisville back on the map, it just means a lot.
In terms of Las Vegas, this is the biggest upset in the history of BCS Bowls. You guys, even though you had a belief this would happen, have a sense of what you've accomplished here?
Oh, yes. And, you know, it was all due to hard work and dedication. You know, all of these guys, you know, they're fought. You know, we shed blood and tears and things like that. And, you know, it just shows how hard we work.
Congratulations, Teddy Bridgewater, Most Outstanding Player, Charlie Strong, and the Louisville Cardinals, winners of the All-State Sugar Bowl. Sean?
All right, Chris, thank you. And congratulations once again to the Louisville Cardinals. The final score tonight, Louisville 33, Florida 23. Coming up next, stay tuned for Sports Center with more post-game coverage from New Orleans. For Chris Spielman, Quint Kesnick, our terrific crew, Sean McDonough. Happy New Year. Here's Sports Center.